Good evening. Welcome to the INDIESPHERE. My name's Kurt J. Parker, also known as Aecentric on social media and YouTube. Kind of waiting for Kyle to get here. We're having some technical issues. He's in London, England, UK. So I'm just kind of waiting for him to join the stage. So if you are watching this, just be patient. He should be here in a minute now, hopefully. So anyways, I'll just kind of start talking about Kyle. His name's Kyle Prometheus, and I've never actually met him. I've never met him in person. But he is he's an independent creator. He promotes independent, most comics, but also novels and other media, film, voice actors, etc. And he does a great job. He promotes at least probably three or four times a week, I'd say. And there's not there's not many people who promote these days. There's only about three that I have promoting me. It's like a group, but he's out of the three that I used to promote. He's like the most personable, the most social. He really gets into what he's promoting. I think when he promotes someone's project, he actually looks into it and all that stuff. So it's nice because you don't feel like you're just amongst a group of people and just being one after another. Kyle actually will leave a nice paragraph or two comment describing the imagery or the cover of the book or whatever. So anyways, he's a great guy. So I'm actually really looking forward to him. So I'm hoping he comes here soon. Hey, Kyle. No, it's cool. It's all right. But anyways, so that's what Kyle, that's what I know him. That's how I know him. I don't know much about him besides that, about the times we've talked on Twitter. I'm sorry, now known as X, the platform. But so I'm hoping he'll show up and I can ask him some questions about himself and let him talk about what he does besides promoting us independent creators. But that's actually something I had actually spoken to him about this week, is what I would like to do with at least this channel. I'm hoping is eventually start promoting small creators, but like the lower end creators, you know what I mean? Like me, the guys like me who are kind of ghosts, who kind of nobodies, who aren't getting all that attention, who find it hard to get their projects out there. I'm thinking of maybe next Sunday I may have a friend help with that, but I'll probably start. What I'll probably do is look at. I'll probably start with Fund My Comic, because Fund My Comic is it's kind of like the newest, smallest crowdfunding platform. I mean, that's what I use, and I think a lot of first-time creators are kind of going there. I mean, a lot of them use Kickstarter and Indiegogo. It's basically Kickstarter, Indiegogo, Fund My Comic. I believe Kickstarter is the oldest and the biggest, largest platform. Most people use it. Indiegogo is next. Fund My Comic is last, because I think it's only like a year or so old. Maybe I don't think it's 2 years old. So, anyways, I'm just going to start simple and at the bottom and try to find independent projects that are kind of struggling and try to bring a little bit of light to them here. Not that there's a big audience here yet, but I'm hoping over time, if I can gain some an audience here, then that audience can see their project. So anyways, I think Kyle is messaging me, so let's see what's going on. Looks like he is hopefully going to be here in a minute. So anyways, while waiting for Kyle, let's see. It's been a crazy week or so, that's for sure. I've tried to just stay in my own little fantasy world, working, drawing. And I think I may, it actually, I mean, it depends on how this current campaign is going. And so far it looks like it's kind of struggling, but I have like 6 months left. So who knows? But if this campaign does better and I'm able to continue this next year in 2025, I'd like to, when volume 2 is shipped, finished, shipped, it's out, people are getting it. I'd like to start a like a volume 2.5, I forget what it's called, a supplement. That's it, supplement. But the supplement I want to do with the black and white. I want it to be black and white, which means it'll be a little darker, probably more horrific, like considered more horror themed. And it'll be, but what it is, it makes work easier for me, because when you just deal with black and white, it still takes a long time, but it doesn't take as long as coloring it, because coloring takes a really long time. People have no idea how long it takes coloring, like one panel. So I'm thinking next year, if possible, if I'm still doing this next year, February, March, maybe talking about launching a campaign, maybe like spring, spring. And it's going to be, it's a supplement, so it's going to be short, like 10 to 20 pages. I'm thinking at least 10 pages, 20 max, black and white. But it's going to focus on one or more of the characters in volume 1 and 2, their backstory, their background, like what was going on before all this stuff, what were they doing when they were younger. And what I'm thinking of also doing is having the few readers I do have, kind of having them decide what, hey, there we go. Anyways, having them decide what I'm going to do. So basically, I'm going to work on what my readers would like to see next. So now we will switch to, okay, so here is Kyle Prometheus from London, live with us tonight.
Hello there, Master Aecentric. How you doing?
Great, Kyle. How you doing, man?
Not too bad. We always knew this day would come. Writer, illustrator of Between Demons and Angels, an ongoing saga bathed in light and draped in darkness. Iconic art unique unto yourself. In you I sense a kindred spirit of freedom that has been on his path for many years. Louis, I think this is the beginning of a beautiful friendship.
I'm speechless, brother. That was excellent. You're very poetic. I told you this on Twitter. See, this is what's cool, man. I don't think you realize how fucking cool I think this is, because we have talked back and forth.
We have
on Twitter, on Twitter for what has it been, like a year?
Yeah. It's hard to believe it's been a year.
I think it's been about a year. And I've never heard you spoke. I've never actually seen you. Everyone gets used to the little icons, little profile pictures. And so this, even though, and I think most people take this for granted because they're used to it, like especially younger generation. But when I was a kid, to think that I could, see someone from another country, London, and I could talk to them like you're hanging out in my place right now, I'd be like, nah, it's got to be magic. And yet here we are. And it's not, we're not millionaires, man. It's not like we're the millionaire elite who are doing this with our high-tech devices. It's just a couple of guys hanging out on a Sunday night. So I everything I've told you on Twitter, I'm not full of shit. I'll tell you to your face. And I think you are like very poetic with your writing. And I've even expressed a desire, possibly, maybe in the future, of somehow incorporating that into what I'm doing, because I just think you're an excellent writer. And again, you just demonstrated you're excellent. You're great at speaking as well. And the English accent's pretty cool from a cowboy like me from American North Carolina. You know what I'm saying?
Well, we kind of speak the old mother tongue here in Great Britain.
Right.
And I'm on Greenwich Mean Time, of course, but I'm around the Robin Hood country in the Midlands of the
Gotcha.
Shires. So
Nice.
I'm a bit of a fan of Nottingham Forest, the world famous city ground.
Yeah.
I grew up with the era of Brian Clough, so his footballing poetry was something I did enjoy. And he had also a way of being candid and forthright with how he expected his players to behave and how to do the business on the pitch, of course.
Right. That's neat.
I'd just like to say a special thank you, Aecentric. I feel you've been a very positive advocate of my channel and my voice on X. It seems to like the way I write my poetical posts. And John's Lombox also offered me some supporting setting up Kyle video. So to avoid verbosity, which can be a challenge for anybody, I thought, how am I going to cram in what I want to say in such a tiny amount of words? And I came to the conclusion that I consider the Twitter a form of haiku.
Right.
And once the penny dropped with that, I thought, this is poetry. This is D.H. Lawrence. Let's write some.
Yeah. Yeah. And I mean, you, like I said, I think you stand out. You stand out when it comes to promoters on Twitter, because you know how you've seen a lot of promoters, they'll repost and maybe they'll say, hey, it looks great. But you actually go in depth, like the individual, the creator or the project that you repost, a paragraph or two sometimes about it. And that, to me, that's cool. That's unique. That's putting the personal touch in it. So it's making this whole, everything we do not as, cold and unfamiliar, because I think sometimes it can feel that way, because again, we're dealing with Twitter and avatars, and there are so many guys and gals who do not do this, who don't have channels, or go onto someone's channel. And it's a shame, but I mean, it's not easy. I was amazed how difficult this is to kind of just get this ready. It does take time, and you kind of have to know what you're doing. And there's a lot of them that don't do that. So having more of that like personal touch, which is what you do, I think is cool. It stands out from the rest of them as well.
Thank you very much. One of the things I do try to do is personalize it. And I suddenly thought a year ago, it was actually, it was down to my business mentor. I'd always wanted to be on social media, but I thought, well, being a shy guy, as you can tell. And,
we're all introverts, man.
We're all introverts as creators. And I thought, Eccentric's a brother and a friend separated by time and space. I thought from the very beginning that we understood one another perfectly. We speak slightly different accents, but we speak the same language, of course.
Yeah.
The true language of the creator, sensitive and mindful of our destiny. And you're well on your way. To coincide with what you're saying about the personal touch, I have launched tonight Kyle video on YouTube. It's called The 5 Pillars of Storytelling. It features the shy guy, guilty as charged, Kyle, Azrael, Prometheus. Azrael's my gaming handle. There'll be a gaming segment to it. And I'm passionate about the virtues of popular culture storytelling, as you can probably tell from my channel on X. And I'm promoting indie comic book creators. I'm looking at, obviously, at art, comics, movies, games, and toys. It's all part of the popular culture of storytelling. But I'll be promoting indie comics. I'm very passionate about evangelizing indie creators and how to grow the indie comic book community. And I'd ask my ex-followers to join me on this journey at the wild frontier of indie comics over on YouTube as well, so I can doubly amplify what I'm trying to do. And what you said, Aecentric, about the personal touch, it wasn't just enough for me to quote people when I promote them and when I run these promos. I got a bit of feedback. When I asked for some feedback, some very kind gentleman from somewhere else in time and space gave me some very positive feedback, and that person gave me the inspiration to be a bit more organized about it, be more personable and personal, and try and I even did a poll to say, do you want some of this promotion more often? And the vote was overwhelmingly for 3 times a week.
Right.
So
I remember that.
And it's very kind of that person to offer that feedback. And a few of us actually said that perhaps a move to video would be good, but personalizing that touch, seeing where people are coming from, understanding them as a creator, what their product's about, and what cause they fight for. Yeah, this, if I sound serious and pensive, as somebody wouldn't said, what does emotion have to do with it? Everything.
Exactly. Wow. You're very dramatic. I'll give you that. That's a good thing. I like it. You're very. Did you ever do theater in London, stage, anything?
Well, to be honest with you, I felt being an interviewer, when I saw a stage or, well, somebody in my family was a singer and a very special person, a guiding light, I have to say. And so I think there is that theatre and performer in the family, whether it's writing, singing, music, or art, you know. I would say there is that in the blood, you know, as well a bit of salesmanship.
Right.
I won't go into that, but I will say that it curses through my veins, but I've always tried not to use my salesmanship as a product of evil. I've always tried to use it as a force of good.
That's good. And that is, not everyone can be a salesman. Some have a natural gift, some learn it, and some just can't do it. And that's tough. And so if you are blessed with that talent, that if it's in your blood, that's a good thing, man. You know, because as you already know and are learning even more now in this crazy arena of creatives, you know, independent creators, and again, I know I'm a visual storyteller, you know, like pictures and words, right? That's what I'm doing. I would love to do more. My background's actually in motion pictures and film. So I'm all about film and photography. Okay.
I can see that in your work.
Okay. Some people who know me have said that, and they said, you should tell people this. It'll make more sense because this isn't like a comic book, you know, Superman's. This is more like film storyboard. And I'm like, oh, okay. Well, to me, I can't make a film, so I'm doing this, right? It's a visual. It's telling a story visually with pictures and words, and that's actually why I love trailers, because a trailer is now you bring in voices, music, and sound effects if you want. And I'm working on that. The trailers are mentioned to have sound effects, explosions, clang, swords. You know? It's one step closer to like a film, right? Now, it doesn't mean I want to go that direction. It's just almost like, I don't know, like having a little tease, a little tidbit of film. Like, I'm going to tell stories with pictures and words, but here's a little icing on the cake once in a while so that you know what the angel sounds like or what a demon sounds like or whatever. You see what I'm saying? And then I stick to how I'm telling visually. But going back to you, you know how complicated this is. This is not easy at all. It's really complicated, and it can be very confusing, and it can be very disheartening, depressing. I mean, it can kick your teeth in sometimes, you know, because you think you have this project or this vision or story, and it's going to go great, and then no one gives a shit. You know, it's because why? Because they're doing their same stuff. So there's this competition. It's crazy, man. It really is crazy. You know.
I would say you've got motion in that trailer as well. I have to say, I really enjoyed your first episode of the INDIESPHERE with the professor and your good self. You really, both of you, got across the idea of the visual side of things, your specialty, and obviously his musicality and orchestral sensibilities. He's clearly a composer. He knows what he's doing. I suppose for the layperson, or as it was being explained to me, I guess on one side you have Photoshop layers, and then you've got something like that, but for audio, there's layers for audio. Yes,
exactly.
And he understands perhaps Logic, Apple's Logic, which they've been looking after for some time, some years. He understands that, probably how you understand Photoshop.
Exactly right.
And I can tell you two actually had a lovely blood brother chemistry bond. I like to see two guys who are really kind of passionately engaged in the art of creation. That's what it is.
It's like I look at it like I think I mentioned it, where I look at it as like it's like the same arena but two different sports, like, you know, baseball and football, or soccer as we call it here, football. We're still in the same arena. It's just different versions of the same thing. And that's exactly what music is versus visual storytelling. I love combining it. I love it. And that's why, like with you, okay, the way I write is more like a novel or a screenplay. It's kind of like I can describe the shit out of things like way too much, right? I honestly believe a picture's worth 1,000 words, right? Which is why I decided to draw this, because I would honestly be describing every goddamn thing with 1,000 words, and it'd be a 1,000-page novel. It's just I couldn't do it. I can have one picture of a scene, and now I don't have to describe it for a page or two. So I decided years ago, okay, I'm not going to do novels. That's a whole different, again, same arena, but a different team. You know what I'm saying? I'm not going to do novels. I'm going to do basically graphic novels, you know? Yeah. And so that's what I did.
So you're an author writer who has merged yourself with a visual medium, obviously artistic. And I was thinking while you were speaking that you're creating a novel motion picture cosmology that has been fused with paper. That's what you're doing. You're doing C.S. Lewis, Hitchcock, with name your fantasy artist of choice. I know you've got a particular one. It reminds me of Chris Achilles, but that's not the name of the artist that you linked me. You really like.
Well, there's a few artists. The one, he's an American artist, and he's not like really famous because he worked for TSR, which became Wizards of the Coast, the Dungeons and Dragons. He literally is an artist who exclusively has done work for them, but he's done it for 30, 40 years. And his imagery and style is iconic. And when I was a little kid and I first saw his work, I don't know, it just hit me. It was like romantic because of his colors, and he loves the sunsets and sky. And if you've seen any of my work, dude, I love sunsets and sky for backgrounds, you know?
Yes, I could tell.
And his style, but what really was cool is what George Lucas did in Star Wars. One thing that separated George Lucas and Star Wars from Logan's Run or 2001: A Space Odyssey, the sci-fi films at the time, right? What Lucas did different is he aged everything. He made rust stains and nicks and scratches, and dents and all. If you watch Star, dude, everything is nicked and dirty and banged up and all this stuff, except for like the Death Star, the Imperials, which is, you know, crisp, clean, shiny, and everything. But the rest, any other place you go, it's all banged up and nicked up. And he said what that does is it gives a history. You can see that this adobe hut that Luke's living in has been here for fucking 100 years because the desert's worn it down so much. This droid, who's all shiny and gold, but he's got a dent here and a silver leg and a dent here and a dent here. He's been through some shit, so he has a history to him. This artist, whose name is Larry Elmore, he did the same thing to all of his characters. All the armor has little nicks and scratches and the dents, and swords, like the blades, maybe little nicks out of them, you know what I mean? And I was just like, this is cool. This looks believable. So I just straight up incorporated that into my work. As when I was a kid, I started doing stuff that way. So again, I wouldn't expect you to know of Larry Elmore because he's kind of just an American artist in the gaming industry. But he was the guy who influenced me. But he's a painter. You know, he does ink too, but he's not a comic book artist. He's a painter.
It's interesting. He worked for TSR, so that's probably an American company, yes?
Yeah.
And Chris Achilles was probably his equivalent working for Games Workshop in Britain.
Yeah. Right.
And your prose on George Lucas weathering sci-fi to bring it into a less antiseptic of the 50s and less clinical look of Star Trek from the 60s.
Right.
That weathering and battle proven technology, but beaten up. What can we say? It's like, we say it like this: sand, it gets everywhere. That's what it is. It's visual cosmology. It's history, but we might call it mystery.
Right. And that, I know mythology was huge. In fact, Joseph Campbell, you ever heard of Joseph Campbell?
Oh, yes, I have his book.
Oh, do you?
1,000 Paces. I've read it front to back. I thought it might come in handy.
Good for you. I have not. I know of him, and I know that he write a book about Star Wars called like the legend or myth or something, the mythology of Star Wars.
Well, George Lucas referenced the hero with 1,000 faces and the hero's journey. He referenced Joseph Campbell as an inspiration for Star Wars. Okay. And you can see that, do you know, George Lucas gets a lot of bad press as a poor writer. And I find, the dialogue's too wooden. And I find that staggering. There are some documentaries. I'll have to link them to you again. I don't know if you've seen them, but I have linked them on my X account a few times, once or twice. And there's a brilliant documentary which shows just how much the prequels had in terms of Lucas. It was almost a love letter to the cinematic industry, to film going, to his heroes of directing and all the films he probably grew up with, black and white, Flash Gordon, the old black and white Republicans serials with Buster Crabbe, and you know, the famous Japanese movie, which was in black and white, which inspired R2-D2 and 3PO as the somewhat comedic duo, which, funny enough, people don't like Jar Jar Binks. Actually, I'm going to get ready to get pelted here with a few baseball bats and a few bricks.
Not here.
But Jar Jar Binks is hated in the same way. And that's why I posted that link today. George Lucas said people and the critics hated R2-D2 and 3PO because it wasn't Terminator class T-1000 serious. It wasn't James Cameron serious. You know, R2-D2 and 3PO, what is it? It's Laurel and Hardy, Abbott and Costello, isn't it?
Exactly right. Yeah, exactly. And it's like George, just my opinion, obviously I've never met him and talked to him, but just from what I've observed over my life, it's like he doesn't take himself too seriously. No. He doesn't take Star Wars too seriously. And that hurt a lot of fans when I won't even go into it, but there's just been a lot of little controversial things if you follow the Star Wars, like Boba Fett's death, for example. Boba Fett's death.
Eccentric. You can get into it with me. Let it out. Confess.
So again, maybe not right now. We can save this for another another night. We don't want to use all of our material now, man,
Oh, of
because
course
then we'll be
not.
like, what the hell are we doing next week?
The best guitarist doesn't give all his licks away in the one solo.
Exactly right. You know what I'm saying? But anyways, I just don't think he takes himself and the story too seriously. And it's easy to, I think most creators and anyone, film, writing, whatever, some of them do take it too seriously. And then what happens is then the criticism hurts too deep, right?
I think it did hurt him.
If you can't laugh at yourself a little or kind of joke about yourself a little or whatever, you know, then you're going to become hateful and all this stuff. So again, that old saying, take everything with a grain of salt, right? That's what I try to do.
It's taken all my life not to take myself too seriously.
Right. Well, again, okay, now you're talking about age and development and maturity. I was, when I was young, sometime when a kid in my work, I was all serious and, I would like want to get in a fight with someone if they dare, made fun of Star Wars, And it's like, now I'm just like, I see what you mean. I get it. You know what I mean? And like with my own work, it's like, I know my personal story here I'm doing is actually kind of dark and serious. I mean, it's kind of end of the world kind of stuff. But yet I kind of joke about stuff. I take it seriously when I'm alone. When I'm working on it, I guess that's what it is. I guess when I'm working, I take it seriously. Like my work ethics and creativity, that I take seriously, like really seriously. But once it's like out in public, I'm a little bit laid back. I'm like, it's kind of crazy, whatever. It's serious, but
the creation of this is serious. But when you put it out there, you have to let it go a bit and accept that people are going to have their own opinion, their own perception of it,
right,
their own emotional connection with you, which may not be what you anticipate.
Right.
But they may love you all the same, Aecentric, and your work, and take you and your work seriously, and that's interesting. And that you say you don't take it totally seriously in terms of you'll probably be able to sit back once you've laid it out there and think, oh well, that was a good bit. That bit I put a bit of comedy in there. It'd be interesting to see how your audience reacts, and that's how maybe other people will pick up on it. And maybe. How will they treat you in terms of how they treated Lucas? You got many people. For me, Lucas is Star Wars.
Right.
They've signed it away, but he still owns it. Yeah.
I agree. I think we seem like we're roughly the same generation. It seems like we come from the same place, so to speak, to me, Lucas is Star Wars. That's it. It started with him and it'll end with him. This whole Disney thing, it was him. It's not like they put a gun, and made it was his choice to do this. He wanted out, you got to respect it. But
he'd done the impossible. He'd done 6 movies. 3 was impossible, but then he doubled it and did 6, and he got hammered for the prequels, probably by people who weren't there in 76 or 77.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
I know the hero's journey he went on to give birth to this. Not just a trilogy, but a double trilogy, and complete the story. Right. Everything after that isn't lore or canon. It's something else, isn't it? But I don't get myself in trouble on my debut.
Hey, man, anything goes here.
Good boy.
Honestly, anything goes here. I don't care. This right here, my channel, this isn't Twitter. You know what I mean? You can say whatever the hell you want. I don't care. First of all, we don't really have a big audience, so that kind of helps. It's kind of like you and me here right now, which I don't mind really. But however you feel is cool. My opinion, I actually, in trying to be fair, in my opinion, I actually like Rogue One. I really like Rogue One. I really liked it. And season 1 and 2 of The Mandalorian, right? I'm just actually now catching up on season 3 of Mandalorian. But I think The Mandalorian season 1 and 2 and Rogue One, those are like, that's like old school Star Wars. I don't know if you've seen them or not, but if you watch them, it's like Lucas made them, I think. But that's just my opinion.
I caught the I haven't been to the pictures to see them, but I caught the I thought I'm not going to the cinema to see Disney Star Wars.
No, I don't know.
To me an oxymoron, to be sure. However, I will give the creators who made it, if not the corporation, half a point for the Vader sequence where he showed you how it's done with the dark side of the Force.
Right.
And yeah, that was probably the Vader sequence we've all wanted to see.
Right.
But you know what? I kind of go back to the Hoth planet and Ivan Kershner's Lucas produced Empire Dark Jewel in the Crown and think, yeah, Vader wandering through Hoth. That's the Vader sequence. Dark romance. And that's what I like about your indie comic book, from what I've seen of it so far, Eccentric. It's dark romance. It's a dark fantasy. It's cosmology. You're not just doing a comic. You are steeped in cosmology. The trading cards revealed all. I thought this guy is serious.
I'm serious. Yeah, I'm serious. But it's a matter of getting the work done and getting the backers and the people to read it. You know, it's like if I feel like I said this years ago because I started work on this. I think I said it last time. I started like writing it and sketching stuff out 11 years ago, you know, and I just keep continuing and improving and etc. But
11 years, you say? 11 years.
Yeah. 2013. Yeah, 2013. I just said, okay, how are we doing this? I mean, literally, I'm just like, wow. Okay, so you want to have angels from, up there and demons rising through and people caught between in a fantasy. And this is going to be a bitch. This is going to be fucking complicated as shit, man. So basically, it's like you get this huge tub of fucking spaghetti and meatballs and sauce, all this shit. And you're like, wow, this is awesome. This looks good. But you got to separate it, right? And so that's how I started is it's like, what can you have to take this huge subject in mythology and theology and all this stuff and somehow mold it down to, okay, this is what I'm going to write and draw, not all of this, because you're only human after all. You know what I mean? I'm only one man, so it's like I can only do so much. So it's been a long process, like fine-tuning it, and it continues, dude. Like every month, I swear, I'll look at stuff I did 6 months ago. I'm like, I gotta fix this. I gotta correct this, because it's like I am continuing to learn and change things and everything, techniques, everything. And you're always busy. So yeah, it's a complicated situation. But like the trading cards, yeah, it's just more information. It's another medium, And I also saw that trading cards, if you probably know this as well, they're popular with campaigns. Dude, everyone's got fucking trading cards. And I'm like, trading cards? Okay, I can do that. So, I'm trying.
Has it taken on a life of its own?
I'm sorry, what's that?
Has it taken on a life of its own between demons and angels?
Oh, dude, yeah, it's scary. It would be psychotic. Like, I hear them, I see them. Sometimes I have coffee with them late at night, Sometimes I listen to the demons bitch about shit, and I'm like, okay, I see what you're doing, but maybe don't burn the living room carpet too bad. And sometimes the angels, I'm like, I'm going crazy. Watch over me. And I'm being dramatic. I don't actually see that, but there's a part of me that does. A part of me does. You know what I mean? So it definitely. I always felt like honestly. Like, I don't want to take full credit because I almost feel, and I know this sounds weird, but it's just, I almost feel like I am watching something that actually happened or will happen.
Yeah.
And I'm simply taking notes, man. I'm like, holy shit.
Get it down.
I'm interpreting it and trying to catch up and say, oh my God, I can't believe this. And then that's what you're seeing, right? I honestly don't feel like half the time it's coming from here. I feel like it's somewhere out there, and I tapped into it, and I'm drawing it like drawing it in the thoughts, energy, images, and all that shit. Yeah, and putting it out as work. Here you go. I mean, do you understand that? Does that sound kind of, yeah?
Yes. What you're doing is you're pulling it from the ether. It's there.
Kind of.
All you have to do is catch it in the palm of your hands. Your brain is the antenna, the crystal brain antenna to pull it from the ether. It's already there. You just have to write it down quickly. Don't lose it. Capture the moment, otherwise it's gone. You know.
Right. I text myself on my phone. I'll come up with a title or an idea, and I'll like literally text myself. So I get my own text message. I've got a list of all these, text message from Kurt Parker to Kurt Parker because it's right there, man. It's because if I'm out, I don't have a notepad and pencil. I'm not some professional artist with a duffel bag sketching characters in the corner. I'm drinking, smoking, whatever. So if I get, holy shit, it's, right here, man, we got computers right here that we can bring. And that's all.
I mean, if you haven't got your laptop or your desktop with you, but you've got your phone with you, that's the ultimate sketch pad, isn't it? Or whatever you've got, a slate, but a phone. You can just peck in the note application in your phone, and it might just be a sentence, but that sentence may lead to a chapter, a story, even a whole cosmology. I keep my phone with me all the time, and when I get an inspiration from watching YouTube research, or I read The Hero of the Thousand Face, I think, oh, that's what I need to do. That's what I need to do to pull it all together. Or that little thing actually ties in the whole, 12 chapters or whatever,
Right.
It's surprising how incidental when you pull that information from the great ether. You can call it the quantum field. You can call it the entire universal ohm of the great word, however you want to interpret it. But it's existential, isn't it? And when you feel that creative pulse, it's almost like you've almost tuned into a channel of the cosmos, and you have to get it down. I was smiling as you said your prose about how you create, and they're in tune with this almost a manifest calling, and it's from out there somewhere. I mean, what do they say about inspiration strikes from where? But we must be ready to receive it.
Yeah. I mean, I agree. Everything. I agree with you completely. But anyways, okay, so let's move to you now. So again, I don't know much about you. I keep referring to you live in London. Is that true or not? Do you live in London or somewhere else?
Greenwich Mean Time is my London, but I live in Robin Hood country or near there. So basically in the Midlands of GB, England, but the Midlands. So Nottinghamshire is the closest, the way perhaps most Americans would think of a famous part of England is Nottingham, yes?
Right.
So I'm a stone's throw from Nottinghamshire, Robin Hood country, call it that, yes? In the middle of England.
That's cool.
And a bit of background about me, well, I guess I'm Kyle. I'm passionate about art, comics, movies, games, and toys, as per the X channel, which I've been running for a year. Shout out to Sarah, my business mentor, who got me going on my Twitter journey May last year. And I've learned a lot, pushing that boulder up the hill like Master Sisyphus, and then down the hill and then back up the hill. Of course, it's painful, but you have to turn up, be consistent, and be persistent. I would say to anybody who wants to know how to do digital marketing or any kind of marketing, turn up, be consistent, be persistent. And the 5 pillars of storytelling is dedicated to showcasing popular culture, as we've said before. I evangelize independent comics, promote indie comic creators, and help to grow the indie comics community. Bit of background for me. I'm a lifelong artist and comic fan. I do have a secret channel on X, which has some of my artwork on it, which I discreetly did a while back, which I may let you in on.
Yeah, please. Well, okay, wait. Question. I don't, and I want to be careful not to interrupt you, but I'll have all these
Go ahead.
questions. Okay. You're an artist, so like you draw like pen and ink, pencil, what?
Oh yes, I do a bit.
Okay, cool. Very cool. Well,
Yes.
I need to see these, man, because I didn't know you drew.
Yes. I mean, a couple of qualifications. I attained a bachelor in education degree with honours, art, design, technology, textiles, and computers as mains. After that, a few years later, I attained a master's degree in computer animation. I would consider myself a traditional artist. You'll pry my Staedtler clutch pencil from my dead hands and my Mac. I once said that about Photoshop, but not since they changed their abusive creator exploiting license agreement. Sounds more like, well, I won't go into that. I'm trying to behave tonight. I harbour ambitions, of course, to make my own comic one day, having passionately researched and developed the story over several decades, along with a classified prototype. So when you said about your journey of 11 years, I thought, this is a guy I can do business with. This is a friend and brother we may be separated by a continent and thousands of miles. I thought, we understand one another. We speak in the same language.
Definitely.
And the last little bit to my background, due to personal circumstances, which I won't go into, only darkness, I had to take a step back from my ambitions in the last year or so. And I realized to emerge from the darkness that it was better to give value to the indie comics community by understanding creators' concerns, by understanding Aecentric, promoting their indie comics between Demons and Angels and all the other comic books, and backing their cause and understanding them, not just on a retreat, anybody can do that, but understand personally about the creator. Who is Aecentric? What is his mythology about? That's what I'm trying to understand when I requote it. Every time I go back to your Kickstarter or Indiegogo or your crowdfunder, I become more intimate with your work, and by proxy, don't take this the wrong way, your good self. And you understand the creator all the time. We forge a bond, yes? So by understanding creators' concerns and promoting the indie comics and backing the cause, seeing what they fight for. I know what you fight for. It's on the battlefield, care of issues 1 and 2. And another battle. The war won't be over after issue 2 for you, Aecentric. Your war is just beginning. But I'm trying to earn the right to one day take my creative place at the wild frontier of indie comics. And that's what X has been about for me, by giving value to other people. I'm not bothered about drama. I like what John Longbox says. Let's keep the drama inside comic books.
Right. And brother, we all need we need help with that, because it's so easy to get sucked into that. And I mean, we all see it. I see it all the time, every day, every night. But that's because certain people I follow, who I may not actually even interact with, like they don't even know who the fuck I am. But I watch them all the time. I know who does what, who's an instigator. I just don't get involved or say a fucking word about it or comment, nothing. I'm like, watch. I see myself. I don't want to be too egotistical, but I basically see myself as kind of like a rogue in the shadows watching. I calculate. If more people shut the fuck up and simply watch, observe, study, listen, right? You're gathering intel, right? I mean, there are military departments that do this, for the government. You're gathering intel on people, creators, on fans, on critics, on whoever. If you jump into the fray and just start, bashing this, arguing with it, man, you're going to get hit from behind or when you least expect it or something. So watch that mess first and see what it's all about. And basically, I don't want to be involved in it. It's the fights are, it's just stupid. I mean, it's just bullshit. It's like high school or worse, juvenile shit. And I'm like, what does this have to do with me creating and trying to get my project out? You tell me, man, and you, I think, are even more removed. I've noticed that, dude. You don't talk about any politics, drama, nothing. I am guilty of throwing a jab here or there with politics, but I'm an American, USA. I'm a cowboy at heart, man. I got cowboy hat and cowboy boots in my closet, right? Several pairs. So at heart, I'm a rebel, cowboy patriot, the typical U.S. stereotype that, Englanders and Europe and stuff kind of make fun of and stuff. I don't care, because stereotypes are based on truth. And yeah, I'm kind of a cowboy, I believe in freedom in my life, but definitely creative freedom, and you do too. And a lot of people too. Don't tell me what I can draw and not fucking draw. Don't ever fucking tell me that. You know what I'm saying? In writing, poetry, film, whatever, you got to have creative freedom. And so that's what I'm fighting for. And I know a lot of people are. I just think I think it's so competitive and backstabby, they get mixed up in that, and they lose sight. They lose focus. Like the target, like your target is you and your project. That should be it, right? And your fans or your customers, backers, whatever you want to call them. You, your project, anyone that works with you, and your crowd. That's it. All that other shit, it's shit. So you're turning for a while.
There's only one word. Amen.
Yeah. Well, I've
got a few points on that to back up what you're saying, really. I remember Alan Davis, fantastic Captain Britain artist.
Mm-hmm.
And he went on to work for Excalibur, which was a somewhat diluted Captain Britain comic, written by Claremont. It was okay, but it wasn't Captain Britain as written by Alan Moore and drawn by Alan Davis. And Alan Davis eventually got a gig developing some Aquaman art. And he was being interviewed about it. And he said, I don't like to talk about my work too much because it dissipates energy and therefore my enthusiasm for the comic. And I'm thinking drama farming, to me, it takes up so much time. If people say they haven't got time to do their fulfillment and time to finish the comic and they get involved in drama farming, you think, well, you have to question that, I'm not, I am somewhat haughty and somewhat lofty about drama. I mean, I'll talk just a few points in general, just to back up what you saying there. There are some good indie comic leaders out there. And we, like you said, you identified the lay of the land. Eccentric is a demon walker, an angel walker. He walks in the shadows, and gets the lay of the land. That's what you're doing, And likewise, Azrael, an angel, hopefully not an angel of death. Indie comic leaders are out there, some good ones. There's John's Longbox, who does tireless promoting and now on YouTube, and now has his own book, Heroic Tales, and good on him. He did his claim to fame, I hope, isn't picking a fight with a tree and having to rearrange Mark Miller.
Right.
I have to say, I did feel for him. I thought, I hope he's going to be okay, because I was really looking forward to the Mark Miller show.
Okay, I missed this. What? Fill me in on this.
Happened? Oh, I mean,
it never happened.
Some genuine drama, and not of the kind of theatrical kind, I might say. He was on his way back. He wanted to pick something up before he got home to get ready for the interview. And getting ready for this sort of stuff, it's nerve-wracking, and it's you kind of chasing your tail a bit to get everything sorted and that. And on his way home in his car, I think he works in New York, and then on his way back home, I'm not sure if he passed out or something, or just had a moment, and he ended up crashing into a tree. And luckily the airbag deployed. And you know what it's like if you've ever been in a crash. You basically everything goes black and blank for a couple of seconds. Yeah. And he kind of came to with two librarians that kind of like came up to see if it was all right. The car's a write-off, because obviously you go into a tree at 30 to 40 miles per hour, that's going to hurt the car, And he ended up with whiplash. I think he got a fracture in his neck. So another guy pulled over as well. They got him an ambulance. He was off to the ambulance in a neck brace, and they did all the tests on him and they found out he was okay, but he had cracked one of the vertebrae in his neck. So they get him 2 neck braces, one that keeps his neck really stiff while he heals for the next 6 to 8 weeks, and another one, a rubber one, neck brace that he can wear in the shower. And bless him, he's had to shave his beard because it was so itchy with the neck brace pushing up against his beard. And you know, as guys try to grow a long beard and then you force it against your face, it gets itchy. So he shaved off his beard, and I quipped to him and said, "You're looking so much younger." But he said, "Yes, I know. You know, I think he's missing the beard, I think." But credit to him, he's back on the horse, and he's rearranged with Mark Millar, famous DC Marvel writer, I guess. I haven't seen that much of his work, actually, but I've heard of him. I know he's held in quite high regard, Mark Millar. Yeah. But John Longbox is back on the horse, but he's had a few scalps on his show, you know. So from small acorns can great trees grow, Aecentric, yes. So even if we've got a few viewers on our YouTube to begin with, John's Longbox, I remember, is at 800, and I gave him a sub to help him towards the 1,000 mark, yeah, when you can get monetized if you've got 4,000 watch hours and that. Right. And he's had Out July on from the Ripperverse. He's had Jim Shooter, ex-CEO of Marvel Comics, on there. I mean, he's had some big guests on there. And obviously Chuck Dixon, who was the writer of my favorite run of Nightwing. And obviously I do like Scott McDaniel's art. I've actually got a box ready to film an unboxing for my YouTube channel. It's actually on my drawing board over there. Nice. Don't worry, you'll see the drawing board in due course. I'll take a video of it. And to show that at least I've got a desk. Whether I actually do any drawing on it, well, that's another matter. But we shall be sorting that out. But anyway, so you've got, he's doing his Heroic Tales, and I wish him luck with that. I've backed Heroic Tales because he's just such a nice guy and he gives to everybody in the community. Go on.
This is because I really don't know John's Longbox that much. I think I've seen him like on Twitter here or there. And he did a comic, and this comic's called Heroic Tales. Heroic Tales, yes. And his main character is, I suppose, an antithesis to the way comics currently are, which I won't dwell on. I think enough has been said about that. Right. And his comic is an antithesis to that. He's doing a character called the Patron, who is a family guy, a father, a loving husband, and he's kind of like a Superman figure in like a kind of Roman style colored costume in purple and white. Okay, now you might have seen it, but I'd recommend you go to John's Longbox. I mean, I listen to it while I'm in the bath, but don't tell him. His YouTube channel? His YouTube channel? Yes, his YouTube channel, John's Longbox. It's great to listen to. Okay, I'll look him up. I'm actually not really involved in the indie creator scene. You know what I mean? There's a few people I know, but there's a lot of them that I don't know. And a lot come and go. I mean, you know, it's like 1 minute they're here and then they're not. And then you find out that they got in fights, so they're not around. It's just confusing. It's a mess to me. So I just kind of keep focusing on my stuff. But I'll see other creators, like when you your posts, I'll see, you know, the fellow creators posting their stuff. And I think John must have, has he posted under your stuff before? Yeah, that's probably how. Yeah, he's been in the promo before and that, and I've retweeted him quite a few times. And I'd probably on the horizon, it might be a good idea to get John's Longbox on your show. He's very amenable. He's very much, you're doing it, let's go. So yeah, just you give him the link, he'll come on, he'll talk. He's very enthusiastic about comics. He's deeply passionate. Cool. And I'm just thinking about growth for your channel. Right. Actually, if you were a guest on his show, he'd listen to what you were doing with between Demons and Angels, and it might give your comic a bit of a push. He's actually on Fund My Comics, so he gets it, you know. And he's deeply passionate, and not just on YouTube. I mean, you've got Comics for Everyone, who is the GOAT of X Promotion. I mean, he's got something like 20,000 followers, and you've got Star Million, another community leader. I know him really well. I know Star Million. Yeah. He was one of the first I who was promoting that I found to promote. And Tompa was the first. You know who Tompa is? Tompa.
Yeah, Tompa 2 Comics for Everyone. Yeah,
Okay, that's Comics for Everyone.
2, yeah.
He's in Finland, right?
He's in Finland.
Finland.
Ah,
and what's that?
How cosmopolitan.
And Star Million, you know where Star Million is?
Scotland. Yeah. Where else?
And you're in London, so I don't have any U.S. promoters. Like all you guys from other countries, I'm just like, Jesus Christ, where's a U.S. promoter? I need one. You know what I mean?
Star Million, what a lovely guy. He is a positive mega Olympian who has his own book, The Orium Saga, which is dark, expressive, self-contained continuum, almost like a dreamlike situation where you're not sure about reality. Are we on reality, or do we change the radio channel, or are we on the radio channel of reality next door on a different vibrational frequency? I've read the first issue. I backed it as a PDF, and I have to say, and I do that a lot. The reason why I go PDF and digital more so than paper, although I have backed a couple of paper comics, it's just insane postage rates coming from the mainland US to Britain. And so I find I can probably back 5 to 10 digital comics in terms of being a supporter of the indie comics community per every one paper comic. So it's been more fiscally prudent to reach more creators this way in terms of the promotion I do. Right.
That's why I talked to you about this, because I was like, it's basically you and Star Million are the two reasons why I'm considering somehow making this digital, because I'd love for you guys to have my books, but the shipping is insane. And it's like, for example, I don't know if you see the chat, but Danny she is a talented, beautiful woman in Berlin, Germany.
Oh, yes.
She voiced the angel for my trailer. Okay.
You talked about her last week with your composer friend. She was played a part in the trailer, yes?
Exactly right. That's her. And she backed my first book, last year during the first campaign. And it's Berlin, Germany. And now what we did is basically I made an exception for her, and I was able to get a shipping rate with discounts and all this other crap. And so I basically worked with her behind the scenes and said, okay, look, we'll do this and we'll cover this and I'll do this and you'll get it. And she did, and she loved it. The problem is, I can't do that with everybody, but I don't have a lot of international backers. So it's like, well, if it's one or two, I can work something so that it's cheaper. You know what I'm saying? And I'm kind of mentioning this to you because maybe sometime you and I should talk, and I'll see what I can do to send you some actual books and materials with it, because I don't know when this is going to be digital. I wish I could do this and have it be digital, but it's very complicated. And I'm like, it may be next year before I get anything digital. And I'll be 2 books done starting on a 3rd, and you still wouldn't have read it. So basically, you and I are going to have to talk, and we'll figure out a way to get my stuff to you in London. Okay. But that's why I talked to you about the digital stuff, is for that reason.
Okay. Well, I'll tell you what, I think you may notice while I welcome new people on X and seek out new creators, I think I can use the word fiercely loyal to people who are base. Everybody's got the base, haven't they, of followers and that, and people who I consider them almost friends, people I've got to know, like your good self. It's like I said, a brother separated by space and time who understands what we're trying to do. You get it. You just know. Remember when I posted about that chemistry thing?
Yeah.
Some of those posts might seem somewhat incidental and random. I wish I could say they all were, but sometimes I thread them, and I think hopefully somebody gets it. Maybe somebody like Aecentric might get it, I think to myself. Yeah. And we do have quality indie creators out there, such as yourself. your comic is iconic. It is a mythology. It is a cosmology. And you will take your place when I get full steam ahead with the Kyle 5 Pillars of Storytelling. I'm thinking of just getting a comic rack, a spinner, and putting certain people whose work I respect, might be somebody such as your good self, and putting your book on the rack at the front, so everybody will see your book advertised on my channel. So that's my way of, well, I post about you. So not only do I endorse your work, but I respect it. Yeah, it's unique. I like voices that are singularly unique. Yeah, we hear them. They sing their siren song. We're drawn to them. Right. There are quality indie comic creators out there who lead by example. If we look at the prodigious and generous Matt Garvey, I call him in the Cockney slang, the governor.
Right.
Of Hammer to Hell. I'll take a hammer to hell. You've got Brother Dio's, charming fellow. Tomb of Reckoning. He's the one that did the Werewolf 1, 2, and he's currently campaigning for issue 3, and I'm looking forward to that one. You've got the talented Roberto, who did the comic Voyager, which is almost like Clash of the Titans, a kind of timeless Greek mythology. Most impressive, and was an award winner from last year of my very own awards, which was called the Phoenix Rising Awards. And I handed out best part of 32 awards. It wasn't just a participation trophy. It was my journey on X and the indie comics community, which I was surprised how massive the indie comics community is on X. I thought YouTube before, Facebook, but on X, I've got 150 folders with 10 to 20 projects in each. Let's do the math on that. 10 times 150, that's a lot of projects. Then double it. That many indie creators on X. Freedom of speech, and freedom of expression, twin towers. So you've got Project Neosis, who are trailblazing the comic scene at conventions with quality products delivered on time. And then you've got that energetic lightning bolt called Vaughn Coleman of Phenomenova. I love the way he gets that phone, sticks it in his face, and he gives it to us, Aecentric. Do you know what I'm saying?
Some of them I have seen, some of them I have not. You definitely are involved more than I am. Like I said, I feel like I'm out of the loop of the community. You know what I mean? Like, I don't feel like I'm actually a part of the community. I'm not saying it's like my choice. It's just how I am. I work and I post and all this stuff, and that's it. You know what I mean? It'd be cool to get more involved in the community, but it's like, I'm not really sure how. It's like, basically, this stuff is, I'm doing this day and night, and there's very little free time to kind of learn about other people. I have to be selective. So you should feel honored because I'm taking the time to learn about you. It's kind of a joke, but I'm serious at the same time. You know what I mean? Like, I don't really know the indie comics community too well. I know some people, I know some projects, some familiar, but I have a very limited knowledge of really what's going on. Where, like, you being a promoter, you probably know a hell of a lot more people than I do because you're constantly seeing them and promoting them and talking to them and all this stuff. I'm just one guy who's posting on your posts, you know what I mean? And Star Million and Tomplin, like, that's it. I've never been on a show. Like, there was one show I was on last year, and it was a small show, and it was okay, but nothing happened from it, and it just kind of came and went, and okay, cool, and that's it. I've never been on anyone's show or anything, and I kind of, it's basically like, I don't know if people like ask them, say, hey, are you doing a show? Can I come on your show? Can I come on your? If that's what they do, I'm not doing it because I don't want to be that. It's like, if if someone sees me by chance in my work and it seems interesting and they're like, fuck is this? What is this? Who is this guy? Let's talk to him. I'll go on your show. But I'm not going to be out there bugging, this channel. Hey, can I be on your show? That's just not me. Those people are the ones who are doing great. I'm not bashing them. They're doing it better than me because they're that aggressive. It's just it's not my nature. I'm more defensive. I'm more, it's like I'll talk to anyone, anywhere, anytime. I don't care. But they have to kind of invite me on. You know what I'm saying? Almost like this is funny, but almost like a vampire. Like I'm not going to come into your house unless I'm invited. Does that make sense?
That makes perfect sense to me. You're not somebody who goes around to somebody's house to borrow a cup of sugar. Cup of sugar.
Right.
So you can put sugar in your own tea. You are very like me in that I usually wait to be invited.
Yeah.
I think if somebody, and this can become a catch-22. I hear you. You are so consumed by the work, and I harbor ambitions to one day be as completely consumed by the work as you are.
Be careful what you wish for. Grass is always greener on the other side, brother.
Yeah,
like,
I can't wait.
It can take you over. It can take your life over.
I like the way you said that. It's almost like you're living it. Your characters are living in your head. They take on a life of their own. Just going back to what you said there. I listened at length. I thought, that sounds familiar to me. If only the pencil can touch the paper and we forget about confidence, about getting rid of the artistic barnacles that are clung to the old ship and the old rock. Let it go. Sit down. And even if it's rubbish, draw it. Why? Because it's manifest destiny. We must obey. Right.
It's amazing. Okay. Again, I love you. You're deep. You are deep, man. I am deep, but it's like, I guess I'm kind of nervous. And so I kind of stay like floating here and you're like, down here. I've been down there. I get you. So I understand everything you're saying. I'm not there at this moment. But my point is, I think what you're implying, and I think you'll understand this too. I think you'll get it because you're a creator as well. Whatever vision you have or idea or whatever this creative drive is, project, okay, this subject that you decide to work on, okay? The way I see it, because I'm visual, everything's visual. Even sound to me is visual. I see sound with colors and waves. It's whatever, but everything's visual to me. So I think what you're saying is the raw creation. It's like raw creation. It's like the idea, ground zero, the idea for the story. This raw creation is like this fucking glowing, exploding mess of energy, right? And you have to take that and funnel it and streamline it into a project that you can sell. How do you go from that chaos and raw nature and literally energy, force, whatever you want to call it, to, 8.5 by 11, 11 by 17, Twitter, people, interviews. Do you see that transfer? It's like, I don't want to keep referring back. I don't want to keep referring back to my own shit, but it's like heaven to fucking earth, man. It's like raw power and just beautiful, no boundaries, because imagination, creativity has no boundaries. You are only limited by what you fucking can think of, right? And feel. But if unless you want to be a crazy artist painting walls who lives under a bridge, who's homeless, you gotta figure out a way to make that practical. You have to be a practical artist, right?
Commercial art.
Yeah. So how do you you're living in this crazy exploding energy, but yet you have to like focus and calm and discipline to a book or a poem or a novel or a film. You see, that is kind of a hell of a journey. It's something to do. And I don't think people realize that's how it is, because it is literally that way. You're not like an architect, because when I was younger, some family wanted me to be an architect, drawing table and rulers and all the fucking T-squares and precision. And I'm like, that's boring as fuck. There's no color. There's no energy. Boom. It's all. And there's a time and place for that, because I actually work that way. I have lots of rulers and everything. Okay. But that's the process I do from here. See, this shit up here that's exploding with color and sound, and that is where I really am, right? And then I have to say, okay, let's come down to earth, focus, discipline, streamline, get normal, and put this shit to paper and writing. And people have to understand what I'm trying to fucking tell them. So how do the copper wire, how do you connect A to B? How do you connect this energy crazy shit that you can't describe, which is your creation, your idea, to paper and pen or video or book or whatever to give to people so they understand? You get it. I know you get what I'm talking about.
Yes.
You see what I'm saying?
Quite
It's
succinctly.
complicated.
You put it very prosaically, very poetically, and it is stream of consciousness as we connect to the great ether, to this heaven on earth, and we're almost like the earth to this signal. And I would succinctly say you have to harness your talent and marshal your resources, and that is through the discipline of the story, art, and production process, the ABC, when it comes down to it.
Right.
This is the meat and to veg of creating. There's a recipe for baking a cake,
Right.
and method to convert the madness into something that we can sell.
Right.
And obviously I could do handprints in a cave in France,
Right.
and complain that nobody's buying my book, man. Why not buy my book?
Yeah.
Or I could think, no, I'm going to have to sell this to somebody and make money. How do I do that? So I've got to balance the seesaw, or this fulcrum shift of balancing this plank of wood on a fulcrum of a triangle,
Right.
of commercial art on one side, commerce on one side, and art on the other.
Right.
And I call this line versus time. I'll tell you a mini story.
Okay.
I once went to a miner's art class somewhere in Derbyshire, which is next door to Nottinghamshire, actually,
Okay.
in the Midlands. And this guy is a lovely bloke. He's a miner. And he went to Loughborough College or University to do a high national diploma in art. And he was retired as a miner in his early 40s. And he did 2 years on this HNC, High National Diploma, HND art course, fine art it was. And he learnt how to, he'd always had this thing for painting. So he learnt how to paint, illustrate, work in acrylics, watercolors, and oils. And he said, do you know what, Kyle? You can draw as good as me, perhaps better, but you've been too perfectionist about it. You're taking too long. You're making too many marks. I'd have had that done 6 hours ago and got it off to my publisher and started to make a bit of money at it. And he also told another little story. He said, I knew this artist who could paint like a Raphaelite, pre-Raphaelite painter, lovely great big watercolors or turpentine thinned oils, layers and layers and layers and layers. Those people like Photoshop 100 layers where maybe 3 or 4 layers might do.
Yeah.
And that's the danger of technology. You think it's going to make things more efficient and quicker, but then hang on, why is it taking longer just the same amount of time?
Yes.
I thought the computer's supposed to make me quicker and augment my and streamline my artistic process. And he said this guy got really upset. He'd taken all week to do this pre-Raphaelite painting. Dab, 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 watercolor. Oh, it looked beautiful. He showed me a picture of it. And then there's this other guy who drew cartoon pictures of a certain part of a guy's anatomy. And it was quite mainstream. Yeah, I won't go into it on YouTube because it's probably one of those banned words. But I have to say, he could knock out 7 pictures of this little cartoon character. And he get paid the same for every single commercial art project. So the one guy had done this pre-Raphaelite painting, let's say he got paid 100. But for every cartoon picture this guy done, he got 7 100s done in the same week. And this guy, he said, this miner said to me, he just gave up his brushes. I couldn't take the fact that somebody else was doing commerce while he was doing real art. And so he got frustrated. And you sense a bit of that in the indie comics or comics community.
Oh, yeah.
And we mustn't be entitled to our audience. What I like about you is you're going on your journey and you'll meet your followers of your kind, whether it's a brother by another continent through time and space who gets it. And there are other people out there like us who like maybe coffee cake. And some people don't like coffee cake. I do. Some people find it bitter or bittersweet.
I love it.
That's fine if they don't, because there's more slices for me.
Right. Exactly right.
Yeah. So he had to give up because he couldn't reconcile himself with lines versus time, or paint strokes versus time. So the more detail you put into it, could you do the same or as good a drawing in far less time that would look just as good to your audience, and all the little bits of noodling? Now, when you're at the start of that journey, perhaps we can't see that we're too close to the work. And I'm certainly not doing a sermon. It might sound like one, but far be it from me to lecture anybody. I'm just here to listen and learn and be a student of art and learn from other people in the community to understand them. That's what I'm about. Yeah. I'm here to, how I do social media. I'm doing grace. I'm doing gentle. I'm doing generosity. I try to give value. It's my free time to give. I try to find common ground with other people in art, comics, movies, games, and toys. I think you get the most out of people when you're positive with them. I focus on the creative product and the cause and try to shape my comments from the gestalt of what they're trying to create and where they're coming from. Yeah, would that be you or somebody else? But this guy had to give up his brush because he couldn't cope with somebody else who grasped the idea of commerce, that you've got a certain amount of time to make money. Let's just say you need £1,000 or $1,000 a month to live. Can you make a comic in a month is the question then. And how many lines over time do you have to make in a day, over a week? I've actually calculated this. According to my own drawing style, I realized, Kyle, why are you doing feathering? That's fine if you're, let's say, Hal Foster doing Prince Valiant in the 1930s. Beautiful. It's epic.
Yeah.
He's one of the titans that the mega Olympian god Jack Kirby learned from. Him and Alex Raymond. And that other guy, his name is, just check my shelf. Oh, yes, Milton Caniff. They were the 3 titans Jack Kirby learned from. Particularly Milton Caniff was wrinkles and his dark shadows and his dynamic storytelling. So we have to think, maybe when you're doing your, I'll let you into a little secret, but don't tell anybody. Okay, Aecentric?
Between you and me.
Right, just between you and me. I did a multimedia style comic about 24 years ago. And it took me a year to do. Then I thought, let's say I make £1,000 from this. That's probably what, £80 to £100 a month over a year. That's not going to keep me earning a living. Yeah. And I hired actors for this. I did green screen work. I had blue screen actually back then when I was on my main computer animation. I had actors. I got the costumes made for them. I wrote it. I used 3D. I did all sorts of hybrid technology. I consider myself a multimedia artist, even though I'm traditional. I'm also a digital artist, and I consider myself an AI enthusiast. And I know people ponder the ethics of that, but I consider it. There's always going to be a degree of fair use, which I won't go into right now. But all I can say is that it's the degree of transformation from your source of inspiration. As long as you can prove you put yourself into it, doesn't matter that it's 1% inspiration, Jack Kirby, or 5% of that fantasy artist that you like that might inspire you. There's so much of eccentric in the art. It sings, it emanates. Between Demons and Angels is like nothing else. It's unique. I can look at that and think that's uniquely eccentric. Out of 1,500 projects I perused in the last year, you're like nothing else. And celebrate that, embrace it, marshal your talents, harness your resources, yeah? Or harness your talent, marshal your resources. And you will find your audience in time organically, just like you're creating this organically. Just be yourself, and the audience will come. Do you know what my idea of success is? Get prepared to laugh.
What's that?
Do you know what my measure of success is?
What?
My comic, if I eventually get it out there. But I've got to serve the community first. I've got to earn the right.
Right.
My measure of success is 1. Power of 1. And then, keep listening. And then next, do you know what I'm going to go for next? 2. And you know what that is? That's 100% sales increase. And do you know what my next number is? 5. How many backers have you got on your Fund My Comic, on your crowdfunder, Aecentric?
How many do I have?
Yeah.
Not many. Like
10, 13?
7. Oh, last I checked, I have 7.
7. So you're already more successful than my initial projections of where I'd want to be to begin with. Now, the next number I'd argue you want to be at is 10.
Right.
You hear me? I call these Kyle's immutable law of numbers. May sound a touch arrogant, but I'm quite confident about them.
No, I know.
And my next number would be 25. Then 50. Then 75. Then 100. That would get us started, no?
Right.
And each one of those numbers is a psychological and emotional bulkhead and a measure of your success. So congratulations on your 1, congratulations on your 2, and well done on your 5, Aecentric. And you are so close to getting that 10. And I predict, with a little bit of help, and who knows who might help you, if you come on my show, what I'm going to do is I'm going to ask you some key questions.
Cool. And
I'm going to listen to you.
Cool. I appreciate it. You are a good listener, along with writer and I'd almost say philosopher. You're a man of many hats, but I think people like us are that way. I honestly think we were born that way. We didn't realize it until we were older, right? And here we are, and it can be, at least for me, I don't know about everyone, but for me, it's very alienating because you're so different, but you're not a unique snowflake. You know what I'm saying? I'm not saying, oh, I'm so special and different, I'm a genius. No, I see things and feel things and live differently than most people. And one of the things, one of my terms I talk about is day shifters and night shifters. I'm a night shifter. I think I mentioned this in the last. Obviously, you are too, right? I'm a night shifter. The majority of people on the planet are day shifters. They are necessary to keep the fucking planet spinning and to keep everything going. They're the bankers, the accountants, the soccer moms, all that shit. all that normal shit, right? I'm not that way, man. I tried for decades, dude. I called myself a practical artist because I had a 9-to-5 job in a fucking office with a suit and all that fucking shit. And I did that. And then on weekends or at nights, I drew and typed and all this shit, created all this stuff. You know what I mean? Over year after year after year after year after year. And basically, I was just like at the point where when I started to approach, when 40 was coming down the road, I'm like, what are you doing, man? I'm like, you can't do this forever. You're not one of them. You're trying to be, and you've tried for decades, but you're not. It's literally like jumping into the fucking abyss. You're saying, it's nothing but darkness. Fuck, here I go. And you hope the fuck you don't crash on rocks, right?
Yeah.
I did it, and, you know, here I am. I'm not in the palace of gold by far. In fact, I think I'm down in the darkness walking around the rocks and climbing over the fucking rocks and getting scraped and cut and fucking fall back, you know what I mean? But I'm still going. And that's all you can do is you can't quit. Like you talk about the story about the guy who quit, the competition, he couldn't handle it. It sucks. And I think everyone feels that way sometime. I think every artist, I don't care if you're a writer, a poet, a filmmaker, actor, actress, whatever, you're like, what am I doing? This isn't working. This is not, I'm a stupid, I'm a fool, you know?
Yeah.
If you quit, well, you know it's not going to happen, right? So if you don't quit, there's a chance it could happen. But for sure, definitely, it will not happen at all if you quit. What the fuck you doing? You keep going, man. You know, and if you need inspiration, watch like the fucking Lord of the Rings trilogy, Frodo and Sam. I mean, dude, it's like I'm in the theater going, you know, I'm like fucking choking up because Frodo's like fucking crawling. He's all fucked up. He's crawling, and I'm just like, you know what that feels like? You know what I mean? And I think most of us do. I think creative people knows what that feels like. And you just have to keep going. You know, and the other thing is
over broken glass.
Yeah, over whatever. Broken glass, dead bodies, fucking fire. We're all going to be dead one day, man. It sucks, but that's a reality. You don't know when. It could be tomorrow. It could be next month, next year. So, you know, create something. Do what you can do with the time that you have. Because, man, you don't know when it's gone. And when it's gone, it's fucking gone, dude. Gone. No more drawing, writing, nothing. You're done. So keep at it. You know what I mean? Deal with the fucking insecurity and the fear. Fear is huge. Fear of failure, fear of embarrassment, fear of this, fear of fucking that. You know what I do? I'm not saying I'm perfect at all, man. Basically, I just don't give a fuck anymore. I just don't care, dude. I know what I'm doing is not the correct way to do it. I know my story isn't what's popular and going to sell and make millions. I don't give a fuck, man. This is something that I saw a long time ago, like longer than 11 years ago. I started working on it. That's not when it hit me. When it hit me was about 25 years ago. Okay, the vision. It just took a while to get to the point where I could actually start working on it. And so now I'm actually, you know, creating it. So this has been going on for a long time. And I just don't care because it's like, I want to see it. And if there's 5 fucking people who want to see it too, good enough. I'll keep going as long as I can. But then there's the practical side of like, okay, you got to fucking, you know, you got to eat and pay your bills and all the bullshit and all this stuff. And that doesn't just fucking magically appear. So that's that whole 2 worlds of the creativity, craziness up here world and the reality. And the reality is you have to make money to keep this going. All of us do. And that is the real challenge of how do you retain that raw creativity and, you know, sell and be all, you know, day shifty, you know, practical, right? It's kind of a bitch. And for me right now, the easy part is up there. Dude, I can day and fucking night draw, paint, type, record, dance around, act. I've done it all, man. I did theater. I was in Carousel and Fiddler on the Roof and all that shit when I was in high school. All right. I was theater, singing and fucking dancing and shit. I've done all this crap. But the hard part for me is promotion, advertising, business, all that shit. That sucks. And that's what I think a lot of creatives have trouble doing. And you know, some people can, you know, hire people to do it. I'll figure. You know what I mean? And so that's kind of where I am. Is it's like, okay, I this is cool up there. I got the creative stuff. That's easy. How do I sell this shit? How do I get it out there? Basically, not even sell it. You know what else I just want enough people to see it and have them decide, oh, this is fucked up. This ain't for me, or oh, this sucks, or and some people go, oh, this might be kind of cool. This is my kind of thing. I want to give them a choice. That's all I want to do. I want to present it to enough people to give them a choice to take it. And the ones who don't want it, dude, I don't fucking care, because there's a lot of stuff that you know people like that I'm not into. There's a lot of stuff that I'm into that other people like. It's people. That's how it is, you know. I just want to get it out there so that people can see it and then decide on themselves, and that's it. And if it works, cool. If it doesn't work, cool. Either way, I'm still working on it. You know, that's how I'm doing it. So basically, it's kind of like, don't give a fuck about your competition in all that. Just keep creating and try to be practical about it. Remember, you have to sell this. You have to convince people to check it out. That's hard, but I'm figuring it out. I'm figuring it out slowly, but anyway.
I hear you. Just a mini story.
Yeah.
Dave Sim, who drew Cerberus the Aardvark with Gerhard as his background artist, he drew, I think, up to the early 20s of Cerberus, doing all of it. And he was doing all of it himself. Then he happened to meet Gerhard, who did these lovely architectural backgrounds. So it was kind of like Disney. He was doing this cartoony aardvark, who eventually became prime minister and pope, and he was a barbarian before that. And less about the actual story of Cerberus, but he was this. It's like a Conan the Barbarian satire, yeah.
Okay.
But with like a Disney kind of cutesy cartoon character, but written with a kind of cynical, bittersweet edge, yeah.
Gotcha.
And so he spent the first 20 odd issues finding his way in the story, where it was just Conan pastiche, a satire, yeah. Mm-hmm. And then he found his calling. I don't know if he tuned into the cosmos or the ether, and he realized, yes, I've got to do political satire. Yes, I've got to do religion. I've got to cover sex, all those kind of taboo subjects.
Right.
And he formed the story with those commentaries. Yeah. Sometimes it got him into hot water. But what he once said when challenged about whether anybody liked his stuff or not, he said, listen, I've got his Cerberus Guide to Self-Publishing, and there's no pictures in it. It is about 100 odd pages of wear a crash helmet advice. And I recommend anybody who reads it to wear a crash helmet, because it hurts. But you're left indelibly clear and abrasively clear of some bite of reality sandwich advice. Yeah. That all creators need to hear, myself included. Yeah, because we can be fairies at times. I try not to be, but it's part of the artistic temperament. We become these oversensitive.
We're sensitive. We're sensitive. We're sensitive. Yeah.
Yeah. And he said, listen, after you've done the first 2,000 pages of your comic book, you won't give a damn what anybody else thinks. You'll be too busy trying to do the next issue. Yeah. And funnily enough, I think he cranked his schedule from quarterly to bi-monthly. And I think when Gerhard came on as his background artist, was obviously, if somebody's doing your backgrounds, that frees up a bit of time. But if you're doing it all yourself like you are, or like I want to, then you have to find creative efficiencies elsewhere. And there are creative efficiencies that are to be explored and ones that I will be exploring on my YouTube channel.
Good.
Well, I'll be asking a simple question like, why are we still using the production methods of the 1940s?
Yeah. Unless that's the look you want.
Unless that's the look you want.
I'm all for that.
But in the same breath, if you're saying I can't meet the deadlines and I can't make any money, then you, perhaps not you as you, but I mean we as creators, it's a royal we have to look at things critically and thinking, where can I save time? Where is the battle in the battle of creativity? In the strategic battlefield of being creative on the chessboard, what's most important? The queen, the knight, the pawn. Got to safeguard the king, because if I lose him and I give up, I lose the game. And you only fail, like you said, when you quit. So as long as you keep going, there's a chance you can make it, as you were saying just back there. Yeah. So to me, creative efficiency is something whereby I think comics, in terms of appreciating them and also creating them, there's this dichotomy or dilemma of wanting to hang on to the past and everything that's comfortably familiar. And then this fear, almost repugnation against anything new, especially when, for example, as an example, look at when Photoshop came in. All the natural media oil painters said, well, a lot of them said, you're not a proper artist, even if you use the same technique, unless you've got turpentine cracking your skin and you're waiting 3 months for an oil painting to dry. You're not an actual proper oil painter. And now I smile at that, because people are saying the same thing about AI. There's probably a wrong way to use AI, and there's probably a right way to use AI, which we won't get into now. But to me, I can see there are efficiencies to how you work traditionally. If I'm doing feathering like this, and 10 hours later I'm still doing that, you look at Jack Kirby. He learned over his 50, 60 years to go from a more feathered style to a more tonal style, where he could block in the shapes. And he went from he was probably a quick artist then, because in the golden era, they were in the 30s and 40s. They had to make a living, So the artwork then isn't what it is now. But as we've gradually grown to the era of image and very render heavy styles, you've gone from people creating 5 pages a day to 1 page a day to 1 page a week. Now we have to look at that if we want to make money. Because if you're doing 1 page a week and you've done 4 pages in a month, then how do you make that salary? So then you have to, well, not you, again, I use the royal we. This is advice I'm giving to myself in the mirror. If I can stand to look at myself in the mirror sometimes.
I hear you. I get the same way, man.
But I look at myself and think, Kyle, how are you going to do a salary comic working so slow? As Yoda said to Luke, how do you get so big eating food of this kind? And that's artist advice, How will your comic get so big if you're eating such meager food in terms of a schedule? Too many lines, not enough money. And I say that to myself.
It's a balance, and it sucks. It sucks because right now I'm failing miserably, because for me at this point, if I get a page a week done, I'm impressed. I about a month ago, I figured out, okay, if I schedule this book to January when it's supposed to be complete, I gave myself till January to finish this, right? And it's going to be a 48-page book, and I just finished the page 30, so I got 18 pages left, And so, how many pages a week or day or what do we have to meet the deadline? And it basically came out to 7 to 9. 7 to 9 days I have to do 1 page, roughly. You know what I mean? And I'm just barely making it, because there are times where one panel, my pages will have anywhere from 3 to 4 to 5 panels. one panel takes, working on one fucking panel for like 3 days and nights. 3 days and nights. You know what I mean? Now I have to do it for this one, this one, this one, this. You see, so now that page took 10 days for one page. That's like unheard of. Like no pro would ever say that's a good thing. I don't give a fuck because I ain't working for the pros. I don't want to work for the pros, and I'm not a fucking pro. I'll be the first one to say, dude, I don't know what the fuck I'm doing half the time. I am stumbling through the fucking dark. I'm literally using like my third eye, the force, to guide me and all this shit. And I'm like, I'm getting lucky with producing this stuff. You know what I mean? I'm kind of winging it. I'm not really, because I watch a lot of YouTube channels and read a lot and research and all sorts of shit. So I do know what I'm doing. It's just my technique is different from what most people do. And I'm alone, you know, creator, writer, penciler, inker, color, digital, letter. It's just me, man. You know how long this fucking takes? It takes a long time. I just don't care anymore because it's like I know what I want the finished product to look like, and I want to throw it away if it doesn't meet my standards, right? And if that means I have to take 7 to 9 pages, or 7 to 9 days to do one fucking page, but in the end, I'm looking at this page going, I can't do it any better. I cannot improve this. This is as good as I've got. To me, it's worth it, right? And so this is only my second book, you know. I am new at, I'm just starting. I haven't even done this for a year. It was last fall when I had the campaign for the first book. It did all right, but nothing to brag about at all. But it was enough for me to say, okay, I think I can do this. It's a matter of finding people who want to see it. That's the hard part for me, at least. So I'm doing the second one. Now I've got 6 months, and depending on how many people, backers, money I get, that's going to determine if the third one comes along. I think it will, because if it was like 6 days, I'd be in trouble. I'd be like, oh shit, now this ain't going to work. But 6 months, a lot can happen in 6 months. Okay. The fucking meteor could hit and we're all dead. So I don't have to worry about it. You know what I mean? Or I'll get a few more backers. I don't know. But all I know is that 6 months. So in the meantime, I just basically want to create good enough for me. And hopefully it'll be good enough for other people. And if it's not, fine. Go get them. Cool. There's tons out there, man. So much shit out there. You know this more than I, because you see it all. You do. There's such a variety, tons. So if you don't like mine, cool. Find something that you like. But if you do like mine, I want to make it as best as I can, right? And I want to meet my own deadline. And I don't want to bring this up, but you know what I'm talking. Everyone in the indie scene knows what I'm talking about when it comes to the amount of I'm already laughing.
Give it to us.
The amount of time it takes to, get that book into your hand that you backed.
Fulfillment.
Right? These campaigns that go 3 years, 4 years, I'm like, you people are fucking nuts. If it goes 1 year, I'm like, that's as long. 3-4 years? Come on, man. And even when the book, they said in writing right there on the side, on the campaign, be whatever, delivered when December of 2021. What year is this? And you said, dude, how the fuck did they have? Dude, I have a guilty conscience. There's no way. I mean, if I am like a month or two late with this one, I'm gonna be like apologizing day and night. I am so sorry. I swear it's almost, you know what I mean? I couldn't be a year late. And there are people out in the, 2 years, 3. I mean, it's like, no. So I want to meet my own deadlines. That's the whole point. What I'm trying to say is I want to meet, if I set a deadline for myself, I want to fucking meet it. I don't want to be a year late. You know what I mean? But I'm in the minority, clearly, because a lot of people do that, and they are a hell of a lot more successful than me. They don't even know who I am. They're making 6 figures, fucking million, whatever. So they're doing something right, is what I'm saying. But it's just for me, my work ethics. I can't do this 2-3 year shit, man. You gotta step it up. You know.
I listen. You can do a book and a half a year, yes, give or take. So therefore, you can do 2 books a year.
Right.
So I'm thinking, this is just something for you to think about. It's not Kyle's immutable law.
Right.
Nothing I say is immutable. Were that so, I would suggest that it's possible that one day you can aim for a quarterly schedule. Yeah. So that gives you 3 months, right? If you can do 2 a year, then you can definitely do 4. So you'd have to find 100% time efficiency.
Right.
Take everything you've learned from the first 2 when you complete the second one.
Right.
And that will give you everything you need to go quarterly. And then once you hit quarterly, it's game on.
Right.
Because then you're doing enough to get that time efficiency, because your confidence will come.
Yeah.
And at the moment, I want to caveat anything I've said in this show, the INDIESPHERE, with this. You must do it this way. You've spent 11 plus almost all your life doing this, thinking about it, escaping from the man 9 to 5. Yeah. I hear you. I listen very intently. It's surprising how much you and I are alike. He says cryptically.
Yeah.
And I would say to you, keep going. If every panel you have to rinse your personal satisfaction from it, then you must do so, because you will not sleep unless it's right.
Right. Right.
Though I will offer you a little clue. I've looked at some of your panels. I think that's searingly, remember that word? That's searingly, the background, searingly good. And then you've got these iconic figures. I'm thinking, that's that. 3.
Is that the one I just posted?
That was one of the ones you posted, one of the last, probably one of the last 5 posts.
The sunset and the figures on the rooftop?
Yeah, that one.
I'm going to show you. I brought it up because I was going to explain. Okay, listen.
Tell me.
I'm gonna tell you a secret that I'm not.
I like secrets.
I'm not ashamed of. If I can, how am I going to fucking do this? Okay, I have Photoshop open. Let me see if. Okay, hold on. Give me a second here. I'm going to see if I can bring up the Photoshop screen. Okay. Yeah. Let me see if I can do this. Okay. So present. Oh, it might work.
I'm impressed that you got StreamYard and all this interview malarkey set up. You've done a good job, Aecentric.
Oh, I'm kind of.
Oh no, it's come across to me as quite slick. The first one, this one.
Okay. Can you see this?
I can see this.
All right, hold on. Give me a second. I'm going to mess around the screens here real quick.
No problem.
There's full screen. There's us. There's this. There's this. Okay, let's do this. Is this cool?
Yeah, it's cool. Do you know in Photoshop?
Like that, or we'll do this. You like that better?
Yeah, it's fine. Do you know in Photoshop, can you still hit the tab key to get rid of the interface elements?
Can I do what?
Can you hit the tab key in I'm just seeing if I remember this from being a Photoshop user back in '97. Yeah. Can you still hit the tab key to get rid of the interface elements? Do they disappear still, or have I changed the shortcut key for that? Like the tab key on your keyboard?
You know what? I'm one of these Photoshop guys that is a menu guy, not a.
I'm a menu guy myself.
Right.
I only learned a few shortcuts, so my brain can't.
I don't even think I've done the tab. I mean, I don't even know how many keys.
Do you know this panel here, Aecentric? You know this panel here?
Yeah.
Is that 1 of 3, 1 of 2, 1 of 3, 4, 5?
I'm going to explain this to you. Okay. Okay, you ready?
I'm ready.
Check it out. What is that? That is a sunset photo I took from my balcony right here I don't know, a couple months ago. I love sunsets. I'm on a third floor balcony, and I have a perfect view of the horizon, of the sun setting, right? So I have tons of fucking sunsets in this fucking phone, tons of them. Gold, purple, pink, fucking blue, whatever. Okay, so this is the one of the buildings across from me, and a sunset I took. Okay, and this is the drawing, right? So I drew black on white, building, people, you see, okay.
I like that. I like it a lot.
Okay, and then
I like silhouettes.
I laid this over the photograph I took of the sunset. Voila. They are. Now,
Go on.
I colored it more reddish purple. If you look at I'm just going to click around the screens here real quick. Where the hell is it? Where'd it go? Oops. There it is. Original photo, see, bluish, right? And then I kind of did more purples and pinks and stuff, cropped it, because the original photo, it's like this right here is probably like here. You know what I mean? But the point is, in a way, it's cheating. Okay, but I defend it by saying no, it's not cheating. Yes, the whole background, the whole sky is a photograph. I didn't actually paint it and stuff. However, I took the fucking photo from my balcony, and I can prove it.
The photograph.
Yeah, I took the photograph. I messed with it. I changed it. All this, like the buildings at the bottom, that's Photoshop, like painting. That's just painted Photoshop. The drawing of pen and ink and pencil is the black. You saw it. That's pencil and pen, black on white paper, and that's it. So you combine that with the photo, and of course the narration panel and all that shit. Voila, there's a cool panel, okay? But this was like 3 days and nights, man. Easy. I thought, and this is a simple panel. This is a silhouette of people jumping across rooftops with the sunset. This kind of thing I thought was going to be like a day and a night. Oh yeah, I'll do this in one fucking day. No, it ends up being 3, because I am zoomed in like 600% on the people, the characters, and I'm like doing the silhouette of their faces. I'm like, well, you never know. If someone looks in, they may see, this is a girl, this is a guy. And that's how I'm obsessive compulsive. So I'm like, I work a lot at 500, 600%, and it's like my older brother is like, why do you do this? Why are you wasting your time? No one's going to fucking care. I'm like, you never know. There may be one crazy obsessed person who will fucking put this under a microscope and say, look, he screwed up. You know what I mean? And I don't want to get caught that way. I'm like, nope, I didn't. See? So that's how I work. And so obviously that's why it takes me forever. But if the end result is this, which I'm happy with, I really love this panel. I fucking love this panel. In fact, I may make a little poster of it, print it in front of my wall. If this took 3 days and nights to do, well, so be it, man. Because I'm happy with it. I can't do it any better. I love how it turns out. So if I'm happy with it, hopefully other people are too. And if that takes 3 days instead of 1 day, okay. I'll eat light this month. That's how I see it. I'm trying to say too.
No, I understand perfectly. This is your first issue, and now your second issue.
Right.
The photograph is your intellectual property.
Right.
You took it. You've got a beautiful resource outside your window. You'd be crazy not to use it.
Right.
And who decides what methods are right and aren't?
Yeah. No.
The Council of Men?
Right.
The Council of Art, the Royal Academy in London, the Tate Modern, some internet community. Who decides? I think Aecentric decides.
Yeah, for myself.
He knows what makes him happy. He knows when a panel is correct.
Yeah.
He knows when he feels the panel's taken the artistic journey it needs to, right down to 6,000, 9,000, 10,000 magnification.
Right.
You know it's there. As Steve Jobs once said, well, actually, I think it was his dad once said to him. Steve Jobs' dad, I think, took him to a bit of furniture. I think it was some kind of craft work or something. And he showed Steve Jobs, the Mac guy. He showed him the back of this piece of furniture and said, can you see this lovely bit of walnut varnishing and that? Rather than just a bit of chipboard. Even though the average customer for this furniture won't look at the back, I still know it's there.
Mm-hmm.
And to me, I'm not going to do half a job. I want the back to look as beautiful as the front. I know it's there.
Yeah.
And Aecentric, on those figures, down to the pixel, you know it's there.
Yeah.
And when you acid test, when you say that question, when you ask the question, can I do it any better?
Right.
And you say no, that's it. Then that is the only measure of creative vindication and happiness you need. You don't have to justify yourself to anybody out there, not me, not your brother, not your family, not anybody. Like you said, one day we might not be here.
Right.
A shadow of darkness sometimes surrounds the world. Let us be illuminescent sparks of creative light. Let us carry our creative swords into battle.
Right.
And worry about those pixels if they concern us.
Right.
And take those photographs outside. I'd call that creative efficiency, marrying your intellectual photographic capability and your natural resource with your Photoshop work, with your pencil work. So you're a hybrid artist. Yeah. I consider myself that. Yeah.
I think most of us are now.
I think
because digitally,
Well, the days of wearing sackcloth, shaved heads, and ash in our hair, and curled toenails, and being in a cave in France and doing handprints.
Right.
As authentic as that was, I'm not sure we could quite get away with it these days. You know what they say about matchstick and muddy water? How pure do you want to be? But in your case, you found your own equilibrium. From here on in, if you can do 2 a year, you can do 4 a year. Once you hit quarterly, you're going to start making money. Yeah? That means you can run 4 campaigns in a year.
That'd be nuts. Honestly, I don't think that can happen. At the pace I go alone, I mean, right now I'm at a year plus a book. Like I said, I had the first book was done when I with the campaign last year. The book was done, This book, the second book, I'm working on it now. I'm over halfway done, but I've got 6 months left still, maybe 7. Okay. So if you think about that, it's like, okay, well, one was finished. So, it was already finished. I campaigned that. Now I'm like in present time. This is the race. Now I am fucking working for a year or so on a book, and it's getting done. I mean, knock on where the fuck wood is. Knock on wood.
Do you know that panel, Aecentric? You know that panel you showed me?
Yeah.
How many more panels do you have on that particular page? Is that 1 of 5, 1 of 3?
There's 4 more. Let me see this.
Right. So that's
a
layout.
fun set. So there's 1, 2, 3, 4, but they're small. They're half the size. See, 1, 2, 3, 4. Each is half the size of that.
So really, you're looking maybe between 4 to 6 panels a page. Yeah, those are your layouts. Yeah.
Yeah.
Now, I'm just going to put this as a hypothesis to you and a question, and what you do with it is your artistic journey. You decide. You're judge and jury over how you use your time, and I have to say, it's quite a you call it. It's a privilege to listen to somebody who's that into it, you know, and that's what it's about. As that old Hawkwind psychedelic song said, if you want to get into it, you got to get into it.
Yeah. I have a saying: if you're gonna do it, fucking do it. That's how I say. That's how the American cowboys. You know, it's like, don't fuck around, do it. Oh, here's another one. I think a military thing is what is it? Either shit or get off the pot. Have you heard of that one? That's a real crude way. I don't say that, but it's the same thing. It's like, just shut the fuck up and do it. You know, and that's kind of what I do, I guess. Okay,
question for you. Hypothesis.
Yeah. Right.
That panel's, I'm just going to put it out there for you, because we're saying, how can we speed up? I guess you're wondering, because to me, I'd look at your situation. If it was me, and it is me, because we're just the same, but we're on our own journey.
Because you're doing your own project too, your own story.
My question would be to myself: year, half a year, quarterly. When you get quarterly, you can start making some money. Yeah.
Right.
So I would say, for you, my question would be: how do you get from a year to half a year to quarterly? Now, you're not going to do quarterly now, of course not.
Right.
But you need to go through this time journey now. It will seem like there's inertia.
Right.
So you must go through it how you're doing it. There is no justification except to yourself. You must do it this way, because it's only your second one. Yeah.
Right.
But by the time you hit 3 and 4, you might see, well, actually, I'm on half yearly now. And actually, I can see the efficiencies of using more photographs in my work, because I'm going to combine it with pencils and silhouettes, and I've got my iconic style that works in this way. You can build in all these efficiencies that will take you from year, half year to quarterly. Now, you will learn so much, and will have learned. I'm going to ask you a question. Did you learn a lot from doing issue 1?
Oh God, college degree, dude. It was like a college, dude. From when I started like writing 11 years ago to printing the book, you're talking 4 years college degree. I mean, honestly, it was crazy. The shit, how you know, I'm going to make a comic book, right? From that to printing it out, going, wow, it's good enough. Good enough. But
so the first one took you how long? 4 years, yeah?
Well, see, the problem is, no, it was off and on. Like you talked about how in your recent past, you had, right? For me, it was, I did 2 straight years of world creation, as in
cosmology, research and development.
Where does it take place? Who's involved? The whole structure. You know, that you start out here and you're like going down to here, right? That was 2 years, and I started drawing the first book. See, I actually made 2 books. It was called Book 1 and Book 2. They were 40 pages, right? So Book 1 was 40 pages and Book 2 was 40 pages. And I mean, dude, I have several of them printed. What I did for the campaign last year, I just combined them. I just took Book 1, Book 2, 40 pages, put them together, and ironically, they were seamless. Like literally, the last page 40 of the first book, and then page 1 of the second book, just there was no filler. I didn't need to fill. It was like it was meant to be an 80-page book. So I took the 2 40-page books, put them together into an 80-page book, and then I just renamed it Volume 1 instead of Book 1. So, but Volume 1 is actually 2 separate books that I put together, because my original intention was to have an 80-page book, but there was a Comic-Con that I was trying to go to, and I had to have a finished product, so I had to speed it up. I literally cut the 80-page book in half and made 2 40s. Finished one of the 40s. Went to the convention. Showed people, got feedback and all this stuff. Okay, wow. Now I'll finish the second one. Finish that, and I'm like, why don't I do what I originally intended, which is to have an 80-page fucking book? So that's what I've done. But now I've had to call it volume 1 instead of book 1, right? So volume 1's 80 pages. Now, because of time constraints, volume 2 is 48 pages, because an 80-page book for me, there's your 2 years, 3 years. You see what I'm saying? But a 48-page book, I can do that in a year right now, no problem. And I'm alone. What I would love, obviously, if I could hire a colorist or whatever, fucking I don't care, 1 or more people to help, because that's what everyone else seems to do, except my dumbass. It's like, I thought when you did this stuff, it was, well, you're the writer and the artist and this and that. Maybe you have 1 or 2 people helping you to put this book together. Dude, there's like people, I think most of them, like one guy has the idea, just the fucking idea in the story. He hires a writer, he hires an inker, he hires a pencil. So there's like 8 people working on 1 fucking book. And I'm just like, Jesus Christ. I'm like, that's so bizarre to me. It's like, I thought 1 or 2 people worked on a book, but you're talking like 8 people on a book. And I'm just like, that to me, that's like crazy. It's like, and you could get it done like that. Oh shit, what, 3 months, 4 months, 6 months, right? But you know how many problems you're going to deal with everyone's schedule and issues and fucking fights and bullshit. And oh, fuck, my wife's pregnant. Oh shit, I got in a car accident. I mean, it just goes on and on. And then creative differences. And even if you get through all that, oh, you finish your book. Okay. So let's make, campaign. We make money. Okay. Now I got to split it 8 fucking ways. So that 10 grand, 20 grand, whatever the fuck it is. Yeah. Oh my God, I made 20 grand, 30 grand. Yeah. Okay. Well, now you got to fucking pay everybody off and print the book and chimp the book. So how much did you pocket? I don't think much. So it's such a double-edged sword. It's like, I'm alone, so I keep it all. That's the good news. The bad news takes forever. I'm doing all the work, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So you see what I'm saying? And if you don't make much money, then you're wondering, the fuck am I doing? Is this a hobby, or am I trying to make a part-time living doing this, or God forbid, a full-time living? Right. That's where I am. I'm just like, wow, is this going to work? Well, just keep working. We'll fucking find out in 6 months. That's where I am, literally. So I'm just like, well, I'm committed to finish this fucking book. I'm going to finish this goddamn thing, and I'll see in January if it's worth it. Unfortunately, I'm not greedy. It's my bar is very low. Like my I'm successful is a very low bar. All the other guys would be like, you loser, I'm like, hey, I don't need much to keep going. Believe me, you guys do. Fuck, I don't give a shit, because I love this. I'm like, I see this shit. It's fucking like real to me. Like I smell it. I fucking hear it. I see. It's crazy, dude. It's like a fucking past life. We're an alternate life. We're both. It's like I had a past life, and now I'm phasing into a fucking alternate life. And I just happened to wake the fuck up and go, holy shit, I gotta try. I mean, it sounds kind of that I'm being a little dramatic, but there's more truth to that than you think. And I mean, that's where I am, brother. I think you understand, but I do. A normal person would be like, what the fuck are you smoking? I want some, because that sounds crazy. You know what I mean? It's just like, no, you have no idea. I don't need drugs and alcohol because I'm fucking out there already.
As Nikola Tesla once said,
yeah,
a very underrated scientist. Some might even think of him as an angel. Mm-hmm. As Nikola Tesla once said, we'll learn a lot more about ourselves and the cosmos, where we understand what we can't see as opposed to what we can see.
True. Yeah, we are definitely, there's definitely other dimensions, whatever you want to call it, out there. It's not just this, right?
We're playing 3D, but I think all the stuff we can't explain are playing 4D and beyond. That's clearly
And it's been this way since the beginning of time. If this was something that like, you know, oh, no one ever thought about until 1965, it's like, okay, well, maybe no, dude, there's like fucking cave paintings that talk about shit like this. You know what I mean? So, you know, you're onto something if it's been through history this long. It's fucking real. That's just how I see it. Even though everyone, logical scientists and no, believe me, it's been going on forever all over the planet, and there's some shit to it. I'm on board. I believe it. So whatever.
Do you know that panel?
What's that?
I think that panel's so good. I'm asking the question inside my head, and if I'd done that panel, I'd be asking myself this question. So I'm going to ask myself this question: could that panel be a single page?
Yeah,
that's how good it is.
Hold on. At the risk of making it all about me again, and I honestly hate doing this. I'm only doing this because you fucking brought it up and you asked, so this is your fault, right? Let me see here. So. I told you I wanted to turn it into like a bigger, like a print. And of course, I went ahead and fucking designed it.
So you want to turn it into a print, and isn't that a clue? Maybe the image is crying out.
Like a mini poster print, you know what I'm saying?
Maybe a poster, maybe it's crying out to be a splash page.
Yeah. Let me find it, though. Where am I? No, hold on, wrong one.
And
here it is.
The same efficiency you had, Aecentric, of taking a photograph and marrying it with your pencil work in Photoshop, yeah?
Yeah, hang on. Let me
using that panel in a much more expansive way would save you some time in terms of if you put one or two of those, that standard, dotted throughout your book. Think about how you could spread out some of those other little panels around and about. And to me, you've got a shorter path to hitting your page count. Yeah. You kind of, that's a decision.
You're describing what I'm doing already. It's almost like you get how I work. You just don't know because you haven't seen it. But basically what you're saying, yeah, I'm doing that. I have I call it a centerfold, but it's a 2-page spread in the book right now. And it's like page 23 and 24, something like that. So yeah, one picture takes up 2 pages.
That to me is a center spread.
Not for this. I thank you for your.
It looks good.
Whatever. I appreciate it. Actually. But yeah, not for this.
Very striking. That combination of photograph and silhouettes and the dancing figures climbing on the rooftops, to me, it does sing.
What it is it's the first panel of a first page of a chapter. That's all it is. I wanted like every let me show you. Hold on. Let me see. I'll show you the. Okay, here you go. See, this is what the page will be like. See how 1, 2, 3, 4. See what I'm saying?
I'm seeing it. Yep.
And let me show you an example of another page 1. All right, here we go. There's another page 1. That's like basically the opening of the book I'm working on right now. So spoiler alert, but it's just it's establishing shot of where the scene's taking place. See what I'm saying? So my first panel of every first page is basically like an establishing shot. And I know that's a movie thing because in film, that's what you do. You have your establishing shot. You know, it's usually a wide shot or something like that. Yes. That's how I do it, man. You know what I mean? So I get what you're saying, but that sunset panel, it basically turned out better than I thought. And I'm like, wow, this is really cool. For right now, it serves its purpose. It's the first panel of the first page of a new chapter, and it establishes what the fuck is going on. It's sunset. There's 5 thieves hopping across rooftops and swinging roof to roof to get somewhere. You see what I'm saying? And that's good enough, right? And if I want to turn it into a mini poster or a centerfold or whatever at a later time, of course I can, because I have it. But for right now, that mission accomplished, job done. I established a panel, page 1. You get the fuck what the hell's going on, because the rest of the chapter is all about this. You see what I'm saying? It'll make sense if you actually saw it in context, if it's all. But no, I totally appreciate your how do I do this? Where are we? Here we go. Oops. There's fucking all these different things. These little menus. I appreciate. I thank you.
I think you do very well. To me, StreamYard is something I'm probably going to have to grapple with at some point myself.
Dude, yeah,
I appreciate
it's fun,
but to me, you've made it look a lot easy over the last week's episode. And this, you're doing better than you think. I mean,
I'm looking forward to your channel. And see, like I said, when you were texting me before the show and the whole technical issue, you know, dude, I'm like running around. I'm like, oh fuck, what is he talking about? I don't know. And so I saw something about like 5 pillars. I'm like, this sounds really cool, but I gotta do the fucking show right now. So when this is over, and we should probably wrap this up, dude. It's like been 2.5 hours. I'm gonna reread your messages, all this, and say, okay, what's he doing? Because okay, actually, this is a good way to end this. Let's kind of talk about your YouTube channel. Your channel, is it completed, like done, like ready?
Yes, it's up. There's a modest amount of content on it. Let me just actually, I've still got my.
Are you? Can you share it, or I'll share it for you or whatever? But bring up whatever.
Yeah, yes, it's at. It is at. Actually, on my. I put a link in my profile on my X account. I've actually redone. So if you've got X open, if you go to Prometheus, and you'll see there's a new banner up and a new profile picture. If people can, as long as it doesn't hurt people's eyes looking at my face. Obviously, I don't look like Humphrey Bogart. And hey, here's looking at you, kid. And I've refined my message to be a bit more streamlined. And I put where I live, Great Britain, and I've put the YouTube link for @Azrael9.
You're talking about your profile on Twitter.
Yeah, profile on Twitter. And if you click on the YouTube link on my profile on Twitter, it will take you to YouTube /@Azrael_9.
Oh, you changed your profile picture, so it's you. It's not. It's not. Yeah. Is that Humphrey Bogart?
No longer Humphrey Bogart or Humphrey Kyle. Humphrey Kyle Bogart.
Well, people are going to know you. They're not going to recognize you. Who's this guy?
Yeah, he's not really Humphrey Bogart, but he does like.
Cool. No, that's cool, man. Looks good. Hello there. I'm Kyle.
And you can see the link there to YouTube. If you click on that,
right,
you'll see that I've got a YouTube channel with 4
videos. Cool.
4 videos. I've got the banner art matching on it. I've got my profile picture up. And basically, I've got 4 modest videos, one of which is just a World War Hulk unboxing or uncellophaning. The other one is me wittering on about the wild frontier of indie comics.
Indie comics, yeah.
As Kyle the Showman.
Storytelling, there we go.
And there's another one, 33 seconds, which is going to be the channel trailer when I set it up. The 5 pillars of storytelling. And the final video that I was racing to get done and to launch the channel before I came on here as a guest was indie books that I've backed. And that's weighing in at 5 minutes 31. And so what I'm trying to do is highlight video that talk about where I'm coming from, the promo work I want to do, and the books I've backed in terms of me trying to understand the creators, the product, and to help grow the indie comic community. And for me, YouTube video is so important with 2 billion users on the planet. That's the next stage. And I'm glad you started on this journey, Aecentric, because this is the most important medium with 2 billion plus people accessing it to actually getting more numbers. Yeah. Now let's run some numbers for you to give you a bit of hope on making money for your comic.
Okay.
Let's say 2 billion, yeah? Now,
Wait. What are you talking about? 2 billion what?
2
Dollars?
billion
or
people using
Oh,
YouTube,
people.
yeah?
Right. Okay.
So 2 billion people, let's go for a 10% conversion rate on that. That's 200 million people, yes?
Yeah.
Yeah? And then let's go for 1% conversion rate on that. That's 20 million people, yeah?
Right.
So of 20 million, of that 20 million, Eccentric between demons and angels will have a total addressable market, yeah? Yeah,
Right.
where you'll be competing with Marvel, DC, but not so big too, and not so mainstream anymore. And I left them after Crisis and Heroes Reborn, respectively. That was when they did Crisis. It was like Bobby in the shower in Dallas, but I won't go into that. I don't want to get any.
Oh, I know exactly what you're talking about, dude.
You know what I'm talking about.
Patrick, what the fuck was the actor's name? Patrick.
We're bringing Bobby Ewing back, but didn't he die?
A whole fucking year. A whole year. Surprise.
How do the writers and actors feel about that?
Yeah.
Maybe they felt like they were thrown under a bus.
Dude. Amazing. A lot of people don't know what we're talking about right now, dude. You know what I'm saying?
But I don't see Eccentric doing that with his comic at all. I don't think you were saying to your readers in issue 3, sorry, issue number 1 doesn't exist anymore.
No.
This angel's in a shower with a demon, and they've forgotten all about being murdered in issue 1.
See, that's the thing that you have to, and I get again, you'll be creating, but listen, it's like commitment. It's like lifeblood. It's like burning a fucking symbol into you. What do they call it? Branding. It's like branding. You know, you're fucking mine, and here's the brand and the scar to prove it, right? When you put your fucking story on a page, right? You better fucking stick to that. You better not do this retro crap. And well, we're gonna travel back in time and it changes every. No, don't do that.
Lazy writing.
It's confusing as fuck. You lose, but no, dude. That's why you can't just be like, oh well, I'm gonna write a fucking story about demons and angels on Earth, and let me just open it up with a really cool battle of angels and demons fighting, and then you realize you just showed the ending of the book at the beginning of the book. What are you fucking doing? And you can't change it now because you have drawings and fucking book published and you know, we're just gonna pretend the first one didn't. Don't ever fucking do that. Which is why, as the creator, you have to know exactly what the fuck you're doing when it comes to telling your story. Because once it's out there, it's out there. And you don't want to pull that Hollywood shit where they retro and travel in time and there's different timelines. No, God, no, dude. Just stick to your fucking story. So you better love and know your story on page 1, because if you get to page 2, 300, 400, 500, you may have to reference page 1 to 10 once in a while. In fact, you should, to keep it all together. You see what I'm saying? Yeah. I love when people refer back to a scene, like if there's a movie, a flashback from the first movie to the second movie or something like that, or a TV series where you're at season 3 or 4 or 5, and they bring up season 1. You're like, holy shit, it's so different. Everyone looks so different. You know, this one's dead. This one's different. This is a bad guy now. You should go back and reference the beginning. Not change it. You know, reference it. This is gospel. This is lore. This is canon.
History, lore.
And again, that's why I don't fucking see movies in Hollywood anymore. The last one I saw in the theater was Rogue One, I believe. Let me think. It was either Rogue One or the Han Solo movie. One of those fucking two. I think it was Rogue One. That was it. Last movie I saw in the theater. Like you, a lot of people, dude. A lot of people don't go to the movie theater anymore.
Yeah.
You know, I was sick of it. I'm sick of this confusing bullshit Marvel MCU dimensions and destroying fucking everybody. It's just like, I am not even dealing with this, man. And so my story, there's like no way I would ever do that. And I obviously you're the type, you're like me. We would never do it too. But if there's anyone watching this, I highly recommend you don't do that to your creation. It's horrible.
Start as you mean to go on. You've got it all figured out because you've taken the time to figure out your cosmology and your law, and that is your bedrock.
Right.
And that's why you're passionate, because you want to do it right. And that's why issue 1 and 2 take however long it takes. It takes however long it takes, because you're just getting out the harbor in your Viking longship, and you want to make sure you start that journey correctly, because if you don't, you won't sleep, and all your hard work will be for naught.
Exactly. You're right. Yeah, you're right. It's frustrating because I feel like
it is frustrating.
It's been forever. But you're right. It's like it's all been finding the wood to build the boat, to get the crew, to pack the boat, to charter get the map, to charter where the fuck am I going, to chart and now it's like, okay, we're all set. Let's fucking go. And I feel like I have just left the harbor, and I'm like, I'm fucking tired already. It's like, but
Charlton Heston riding those oars in
a good night's sleep and a bottle of rum and maybe a wench, and you're set for the next year, fucking rejuvenated. That's how I am, at least. So, but yeah, you're right. It's like, no, I'm kind of just starting. It's just the prep was.
You can pick up the ship, and once you get your wind in your sails, and you've got a few people, you're really into pulling on those oars and driving through the water. The speed will pick up. You're only on issue 2.
Right.
You've got to try to be easier on yourself, forgiving in that sense, and think I'm doing this already. You've started. You're already out there. You've got a show. You're streaming. You've got panel.
Again, I just started though. This is my second.
Yeah.
And again, thank you for coming on, because I'm like,
no problem.
It would really suck if it was just me.
Well, look, here's another point I want to make. Drama. The reason why I avoid it like the plague is why alienate your potential audience? I agree with John's Longbox. It's about, you've made it quite clear. You watch and observe. You're a shadow walker. You're an angel walker, a demon walker. You study things.
Yeah.
It's all about the drama inside the comics. To me, I don't do any drama. I avoid politics, sex, or religion in polite company. Why? At the risk of sounding a bit square, I feel that the indie comic book community, we have the mandate to reach for higher standards of professionalism. If we want to reach more people, then we have to behave in a certain way. And firstly, I want to reach the widest addressable audience possible. Right? It won't be 2 billion, but you can run the numbers down in terms of 10% and 1% conversion rates, and then you get to your addressable market. Yeah. How many of 20 million people can we get? You don't need 20 million people to make a living at Aecentric, and neither do I. No. You probably need 1,000 true fans who will buy your book, right? So to me, I asked this question. In the olden days, an 8-year-old, a teenager, and an adult could read Spider-Man or watch a Disney movie with their family and enjoy it. The child could enjoy it on their level, and because of clever writing, an adult could enjoy it on their level. And secondly, I would say to people, because everything we do now with social media, it's a honey trap, is being monitored and recorded. And we know it is because of those valiant few that told us so. And banks and other institutions are keeping SARs, which are subject access reports. So, and you have to be very careful what you say and do online, because there's a record of it. So I'll be striving to reach the widest possible audience. So to me, I'd like to say a humble thank you for letting me on your show to explain about the promo stuff.
Yeah.
And I'd like to thank all the followers on my X space over the last year, or Twitter X, whatever it's now called. Lots of talented people on there. I'm just holding up the mirror, Eccentric, and to your good self. And me, even when I've been slightly devil's advocate here and there, and I'm just kind of talking about creative efficiencies, you must do it how you do it. It doesn't matter what I think or say, not a jot.
Right.
And it was my business mentor, Sarah. I will shout her out again. She knows who she is. Shout out to her, who got me on my Twitter journey in May last year. And I met lots of lovely people on X, and people such as yourself who are passionate and sensitive and really care about what they're doing. If you've got 7 backers, you can get 10. If you've got 10 backers, you can get 15. And it doesn't matter how many backers you got. Your success criteria is getting this issue number 2 done how you do it. And what you've learned from 1 and 2 will go into 3. Now, I just want to ask you a simple question. is issue 2 taking less time than issue 1?
Oh yeah. Oh.
There you go. So I'm guessing on your trajectory that issue 3 will take less than 2, yeah? And then issue 4 will take less time, yeah?
You're right. It mathematically it makes sense. That should work out until you hit a certain point where obviously
I have dropped
not practical anymore. But the point is, everything I'm doing with the book right now is an improvement from the first book. I mean, fucking everything, every technique, every page layout, every dialogue, every narration. I mean, dude, everything I have corrected and improved. And so, like I said, we'll talk, like this week, like tonight, this shit burns me out. Like these shows and stuff and everything, dude, I'm like when I end this, I'm done for the night. You know what I mean? So you may not hear from me. I'll probably send you a message real quick on Twitter, but that's about it. So this week I'll get with you about stuff. But again, it'd be cool if I can send you the first book, the 80-page one, which to me is it's imperfect, and I have all these, but it's at the time it was cool. It's just now I look back at it and I'm like, changed so much. You know what I mean? But it's
you can see the journey of learning. That's the positive way of looking at it. You can see the journey in your creative ship. Yeah,
it's like the foundation, the rock. It's like it is what it is, and I ain't gonna fucking change it, and this is how it fucking is. But what I'm doing now, when you get the first book, the 80 pages, okay, just know that the shit I'm doing now, the drawings are better, the techniques are better. Like everything is improved, and that's why if you go to the campaign on Fund My Comic, because I have several pages posted, finished pages posted, you can simply compare and see what I'm doing now, like this last year, and what I was doing a few years ago with the first book, and be like, oh yeah, I can see the improvement. You know what I mean? So that's all I'm trying to do is make this book better than the first one, and then of course the next book I'll try to make better than this one. And it's there's so much to learn and so much to improve. It's insane, and you will learn it. You'll discover this and learn it when you're working on your stuff. And obviously, you fucking talk to me, ask me any question or whatever the fuck you want, because I'm kind of like, I guess I'm a little ahead of you down the road, right? What's that?
I appreciate the offer. Thank you.
Oh, but like creative wise, I'm like a little further down the road, right? Like, have you started your?
I have a prototype. I've my I would call it my mythology or cosmology or my story. It's all done. It just needs pulling. Do you know when you say about pulling it together in the funnel to get it down the funnel and into an actual product? I've managed to do that. I've got a prototype of a quote unquote first issue.
Okay.
And I'm looking at that critically and thinking maybe I can put a bit more drawing into this. Maybe I might just, you're talking about panel selection and where to put those splash pages and stuff like that. Similar sort of creative editorial aspect to that journey, But yes, but I think you're right. I will learn so much from having done that prototype, but then moving into an actual final product and then taking it into a second issue. I mean, you're way ahead there, and I can tell from what you're saying that you've learned so much.
Okay, and so all I'm basically saying is only because I'm a little further down the road than you when it comes to creative project wise, all the fucking landmines that I've stepped on or bypassed or I can tell you, and if you decide to listen, it may help you and save you. If you don't, that's cool. I'm just putting out there. Yeah, I'll let you decide. You know what I'm saying? Like, and you talk to me, because again, if I can make things easier, it's like trailblazing. And I'm not saying, oh, I'm a trailblazer, follow me. I'm simply saying, hey, I'm going fucking this way. And whatever the fuck I find out, if anyone who's, following the same path as me, I'm going to warn you of the fucking pitfalls and the obstacles and the poison fucking snakes and the monkeys throwing coconuts at you from the trees. You know what I'm saying? It's so, especially you of all people, obviously I'll help because you have helped me, and you're still helping me. I mean, dude, second fucking show when you're on, my exclusive guest, and so that's really cool. And again, but I, and for anyone listening, I want to accentuate whatever that you have your channel now, and you're going to be doing stuff, and you're going to have whatever you do with your channel, it's going to be more of it, as in you're going to have like more consistent or stuff videos or
I think you're doing it the right way. You're starting off with once a week. You're keeping it manageable.
Yeah.
You're doing it on Sunday when you've got time from your artistic schedule for your book, and you're keeping it consistent. And then you will load balance from there, and you'll decide if you can maybe do another show, or whether you can do a smaller bit of content to either promote your book or to add to what you're doing. But I like the fact that you've got yourself a schedule and you're being consistent. And I would do well to learn from that, as would any other YouTuber.
Okay, but I'm saying I'm just looking forward to basically I'm looking forward to what you're going to do with your YouTube channel and the project that you're working on. And so any way I can help, obviously, talk to me, let me know. And I think you and I will talk.
I appreciate that.
About a few things in private now, you know what I mean? But again, we hit almost 3 fucking hours. That's almost 3 hours.
You want to get into it, you got to get into it.
I'm going to rewatch it. You'll probably rewatch it, but fucking no one else will. These two fucking old guys.
We shall see. It's I think what we've done here, Aecentric, is laid down the gauntlet. You know where the inertia is? Do you know where the inertia is on the big wheel turning? It's between 1 and 1,000. Those numbers again, yeah? That's where people need help in the indie comics community. That's where they need the promotion, where people are learning, you're learning, I'm learning to get our stuff out there to an addressable, sized audience, yeah?
Exactly.
And going through, shifting gears through the numbers, 1, 2, 5, then 10, yeah? Then 25, yeah? And once we start playing around with these numbers and marrying our creative efficiency to those numbers, we can balance the needs of commercial, art, passion and money.
I hear you. So again, is there any last minute thing you want to say about yourself or?
Well, I would.
What I'm going to actually, sorry, real quick. What I'm going to do is when this is over, I go back and I edit it, as in like the description. So I will put a link to your YouTube channel here under the description, and whatever do you want your Twitter here to a link?
Yeah,
to Twitter?
Please. Yes, please. Both Twitter and YouTube in there.
Okay, I'll put those links under the description that I will rewrite when this is over. I'll do that tonight. And so you'll have your 2 links there. And then I got to put all the hashtags. So the hash. Do you know about all that on YouTube, right? The hashtags.
Hashtags. I've done it on X. I need to get versed on it. I know it'd be important on YouTube.
Similar on YouTube, but I think it's more important. I think hashtags are more important. They work more on YouTube than they do Twitter. They work on Twitter, but I think YouTube it really works. And so
more so on Twitter, I think so.
Yeah, if you can have 50 fucking hashtags, do it per video. And that's why, like here, I'm not doing all this at first, waiting for you to come. I'm like, here's this title of the show, let's fucking stream. And then tonight I will add 50 fucking hashtags in description and your links to all the. So again, don't think I don't want you to think I was like blowing you off or dishing you somehow. No, I'll have your links here for people to find you and all that good stuff. So your Twitter, your YouTube, and anything else you want.
I would like to conclude by saying I hope people check out Aecentric's Between Demons and Angels. A saga bathed in light and draped in darkness. A deeply personal work, a journey of 7+ years where creativity is pain.
Yes.
Suffering. True. Yes, suffering. And check his work out. Go to his campaign page. It doesn't hurt. It's a hyperlink away.
Yeah.
Think about if you could back his book. Maybe you might persuade him to come out with a digital book. Maybe if you live in a foreign country which is expensive to post to, maybe give him something to think about. Tell him if you're interested, and tell him maybe what your budget is for buying indie comics. Give him some feedback. Follow his channel here, INDIESPHERE. Give him a sub, a like, a follow. I'd ask anybody off my X to give me a sub, a like, and a follow for my channel, and I've already started with indie books that I've backed, 40 odd digital books that I'm promoting. And I just, if you see a book in there, give me a like and a follow, and just help me get this community off the ground on YouTube. Why? So I can promote your book.
Yeah, a lot. Everyone needs it. And you will too. And we're all in the same boat, man. We're all floating in the same.
And grow the community. A rising tide lifts all boats and creates money for everybody.
Yeah, exactly. So, okay, again, you're such a good. So not only are you a great promoter on Twitter and writing, but in person too. It was like you've been doing this. It's showing your salesmanship. You know what I mean? You said the salesmanship, it's you're natural. So yeah, great way to wrap this up.
You're very kind.
So that is it, everybody. About 3 hours. That's really cool. So hopefully we'll do this again, man. Let me know when you want me to drop by your show. Obviously, you're the boss, so you tell me when it happens and what the hell, and but we'll talk more. But yeah, thanks again, dude, for taking time, because I know it's late there. It's Christ, what is it, 5 in the morning now?
It is. But I would like to say thank you very much for having me as a guest on your show. I really enjoyed it. I like the intensity of it. I like the pensive creativity. It's nice to hear the passion and somebody who understands it, somebody who gets it, somebody else, even though we're separated by a continent, understands what I'm going through, what we're all going through. And to try and really help those people in the 1 to 1,000 bracket. And it's been a privilege and a pleasure, Aecentric, to speak for the first time. Louis, I think this could be the start of a beautiful friendship.
Exactly right. Okay, you take care, man.
Take care.
I guess that's it. Okay. All right. Wow. Great. What is he doing? Where's my thing? Okay, never mind. Okay, that's it. I'm out of here. Thanks, Danny. I wish I could talk to you more, Danny, but as you can tell, I was, he and I were, so I will catch you later, Danny. But thanks for showing up and being the one person in chat. One's better than nothing. And again, an awesome guy. Kyle Prometheus is cool. I know, I'll be talking to him more. Hopefully he'll come on the show again, and it'd be cool if I go on his show. So anyways, I'm just rambling now. So if anyone watches this whenever, thanks for watching, and hit like, we got to do this like shit and all that crap. Just fucking do it because it helps get it out there. So again, thank you. And thanks again to Kyle and to Danny and to anyone else who sees. And that's it. Be safe. Watch your back. Keep your eyes peeled. Keep that third eye. Keep that third eye going when the other two eyes are closed. So have a good night, everybody.